So we are live with Ryan Dawson once again. You're third time now. So you're one of my. There's a couple guests I've had on like three times. So you're one of my primary guests. You're just a wealth of knowledge. So I'm glad we have a relationship that you can come on and you're one of the guys that really helped wake me up. Remember a few years ago you called me 3 or 4 years
Hmm.
ago. You called me and started telling me films to watch it up. That might have been like 4 years ago, probably right?
Yeah,
Three,
20,
four.
I don't know, 2022,
Yeah, I
something
didn't
like
know
that.
much back then. You started sending me down some rabbit holes, and I was like, this guy seems. Because you weren't hateful, because I have Jewish friends and shit. So it's like when guys are like, oh, blah, blah, but then you were just saying things that were making sense. That's what really woke me up.
Yeah, I remember red pilling Sam Tripoli, but like every time I visit him, right after I left, all these people would gang up in his ear and be like, "That guy's a Jew hater." Like what? But every time I come on, I'm like, "No, no, this is not the thing. This is just what they say to try and discredit people."
Yeah, and it works very well. Well, it has worked very well. Now it's not. I think until this last year, it's worked so well, but now there's like an avalanche of truth coming out, and I'm not sure what their next step is to put it back in. I don't know if it's
We had
mass.
that window of it was mostly TikTok. I used to think it was X because I got allowed back on X and stuff, but and some of it was, although that's been nerfed. But TikTok blew it up, man. When you had 20-something-year-olds reading Bin Laden's letter to America, which it came out when they were born, like, they suddenly
Yeah.
rediscovering old stuff. It was because of TikTok.
Yeah, and I didn't
So,
remember this stuff because I mean I didn't really pay attention to news that time. I was so laser focused on fighting. I miss those days,
mhm.
when the only thing I cared about was fighting and girls, and didn't know. I barely. I'm like,
You
oh,
seem like a
9/11,
different
that
life.
sucks. Yeah, that's a whole nother life. Now I'm stuck here in this political world, which I guess it's important, but I don't know how the hell I ended up here. It's your fault, Ryan, when you
But
started
as
sending
you
me
get
this
older,
stuff.
you can't keep fighting, so you got to start the other battle. Start the
Exactly.
truth.
Fight, fight. That's what I call the thing, fight back. It's like now fighting back in the political area. But today I think we're going to go deep on 9/11 because I watched your film. I'm terrible with names. What was the name of the film? It was,
Is Empire Unmasked
yeah, just
Reduxed? Yeah.
amazing. I watched that when I was doing like a 5 hour drive. So it's like pieces of it, but it was just the knowledge that was in that packed in that film was just so in
You
depth. Because
can listen to it, but like the documents are on the screen to prove what I'm saying. But if you're like, I already know he's telling the
I,
truth, then you could
I
let
know
me
it.
go
I had
on.
it like sitting on my phone, sitting on my legs, so I like kind of half saw the documents, half didn't. So I didn't watch it in the ideal setting. But I'm so busy that was, I really wanted to.
Hmm.
You'd hit me up like for like 2 weeks, like, "Have you watched my film yet?" And I was like, "Crap, I haven't. I need to watch it." So
Yeah, I mean, I put a lot of worked on it for 3 years. Like, just hit play.
no,
But
it's
it's you don't really need anything else on 9/11 after that. Like, this is what happened, and we know this.
yeah.
That's it.
After this
That's the
interview, I
definitive
recommend
one.
everyone watch that. There's this. I mean, there's so many places we could start. Like a lot of people know about the dancing Israelis, all this. So maybe we'll cover that at the end. But we really went in depth to the Saudis were involved too. So there was a heavy
Absolutely.
Saudi
Yeah.
involvement, and that's because I was Israel did 9/11, but it's very important to understand that it's an axis between Saudi,
See that map?
CIA. Yeah,
Like that whole chunk is Saudis.
interesting. And I'm guilty of it
This
myself of
this
saying
other whole
Israel did
chunk is
9/11.
them. You
They,
know who's them? Who is them? Who is they?
yeah,
Yeah.
those that shall not be named.
Right. Voldemort or whatever.
No, isn't it crazy? Like, I'm not live streaming this on YouTube right now because even though we're talking about very factual stuff, I'll
Yeah.
probably get a strike for it. Maybe I'll put pieces of it later that's
What's
edited,
the
and it's
weirdest thing? If I criticize, and I do criticize Saudi Arabia, people don't call me anti-Arab or anti-Muslim. But when I criticize the one we're not allowed to talk about, you do get all that.
yeah.
They
We are
call
on
me
Rumble next though, so I
anti-Semitic
think
and
we can.
antiseptic, and yeah, they
Yeah,
call
so
you
we can
anti-Semitic.
actually
They're like, make a
say it
Jewish
all because this
tape.
is a
Like,
rare case we're not on YouTube. So
oh,
what do
okay,
you
well that
think?
gives me freedom. Oh,
Yes, you have freedom right now. So it
inward.
seemed like
No.
it was connection between the. So basically, your thesis is the CIA, Saudi Arabia, and then Israel is kind of the mastermind behind it all. Is that correct?
So Al Qaeda did 9/11, but Al
Uh,
Qaeda is not a wholly independent grassroots terrorist organization. Just like ISIS is now in the White House.
that
Giuliani,
that
this
that
this
that is
bothers
crazy.
me to. Oh man, it enrages me. This guy cut off people's heads. He killed a 12-year-old
Why don't you
Palestinian.
explain this real quick for people that might not know what you're talking
Okay,
about?
so So ISIS is a terrorist group. It's a conglomeration of terrorist groups that got called ISIS, the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. Some people don't like that name, especially Muslims, because they're like, they're not Islamic. I'm like, well, they are. They're just really bad at
Yeah,
it. But
they're
like,
just bad
it's really
Muslims.
not Iraq and Syria either, because it's mercenaries from all over the place. So Daesh, Takfiri, Wahhabi, whatever you want to call them, but it's a terrorist group, most well known by ISIS or ISIL, L meaning the Levant, and they destroyed Syria over a course of about 9 years. And it was obvious that they had state support from Turkey and from Gulf Arab states for
And America
financing
too,
different
correct?
factions. What's that?
Didn't America help them out quite a bit too?
Oh yeah, through I actually have a film called Syria, Israel's Invisible Hand, because the whole purpose of the war in Syria was to cut the land bridge between Iran and Hezbollah. Hezbollah's resistance fighters in Lebanon against Zog.
Mhm.
And that's what they did. And they figured they would take real but very insignificant little grassroots rebellions in Syria and inflate it into this monster by paying foreign mercenaries. What they did in Libya too. They bring in all these proxy forces, which they'd been setting up for decades. They would pay these madrasas, these Islamic schools, and get with these really radical imams to create the future cannon fodder. And this has been going on since at least the 70s.
Damn.
We saw that in the war in Afghanistan, Operation Cyclone, Operation Eagle Claw, but they're better known as, Iran-Contra and the fighting the Soviets in Afghanistan. But they radicalized these people. A lot of the Iran-Contra was paid for by contraband sold by the Israelis. They were paying for to us to destroy Nicaragua. And so you see the formations of how they financed these groups had to shift post Watergate. Watergate's in 73. Bush Sr. becomes the director of the CIA in 1976. And there was a lot of domestic scrutiny, trials. Like the media wasn't like it is now. Like they were actually it was a little bit functional.
There's a little bit of real media.
Like
There's a tiny
today.
bit of real media out there.
Yeah, exactly. Like even in like 2003, you could see Ritter and Larry Johnson and things on CNN pushing back against Bush's war. Like there was a little bit of,
And they did do
you know,
some pieces on 9/11 Israeli connection. I don't know who ran that, but they did that too.
well, I remember Michael Moore covered the Saudi bit a little,
Yep,
but
but he
just
left
in
out
a
the
like
Israeli bit.
circumstantial way. Yeah, not in a concrete way like I did.
Weinstein
But
funded that. They left out the whole Israeli connection.
yeah, how about that? Yeah.
Shocking.
It's like there's a pattern or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Someone's recognizing patterns a little anti-Semitic.
Oh, by the way, I guess we were live earlier, but Korean Zombie, you gotta get yourself a drink, man.
Yeah, that people don't know fighting. This guy's like an epic Korean fighter, extremely famous. Korean Zombie, like everyone likes Korean Zombie. Like I don't know, he doesn't have very many haters. I mean, everyone has haters, but everyone loves Korean Zombie for some reason. Just such a
Yeah,
likable.
they liked him in Japan too. Like when I was over there, they loved him.
Yeah,
He's
unlike Akiyama or Sexy Yama.
well, his parents were my neighbors.
Akiyama,
Back when,
we're getting a
yeah,
little offshoot, but like I fought him. I don't know if you know that. Like
I know he threw you on your head too.
that was the
I
most
think he
beautiful
won,
throw.
right?
That was so beautiful. Thank God I won the fight, but I got thrown, and I was like, wow, that was beautiful. Like it was
I
just
always tell
like
people like if you were not on a mat, if that was a floor, fight's done. Like
maybe the
that
way
really
he
hurts judokas because that in a realistic situation is over right there. It's
Well, the
not
way
so
he
well.
throws though, he doesn't slam. It's like a beauty thing because they want to launch you, and they also don't want to overroll. So the Japanese actually,
Hmm.
someone was explaining how they throw a little different, where you're not supposed to hurt your opponent on the way down. They just like launch you. It was beautiful. 'Cause I've never been thrown like
I've
that. I
heard,
was just
yeah.
like mid fight, I was like, wow, that was awesome. But I'm like, okay, now I better get up and beat this guy's ass. I need to go find that throw again because it was like it was art, martial art. You know, his throw he did against me was pure art. I won't deny that.
I remember when there was a French soccer player that somebody said something nasty about him and his mother, whatever, and I think it was Zayadine or something like that. He headbutted another player, and in the Japanese media, it just talked about how technically it was a proficient headbutt.
Yeah, it's all about that perfect technique in Japan, I realize. So if your technique's perfect, they love it, you know? So it's
That's
like,
what they clap for when people are like, "Why are they silent?" Like, no, you do something smooth, they're all
yep.
like, Yeah.
and they understand the jiu-jitsu and the throws. Like they were going
And they
against
invented it all.
Akiyama. They were actually against him, which kind of surprised me, I guess, because the Korean thing. But when they did that throw, they still applauded because it was a perfect throw. So
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna go
pretty
find. I'm gonna
smooth.
go find that after this and post the video of me getting tossed.
Sexy Yama. But
Anyway,
he doesn't have a drink. And I showed Jake the Korean zombie drink, and instead of being like some people, they like bitter and stuff, he's like, yeah, awesome.
yeah,
See, that's like fighters are like they like other people's success. Some people are always jealous when somebody else succeeds.
it's unfortunate, yeah, because there's room for lots
Mhm.
of people to be successful, and it's like there's this bitterness of people that don't want you. When I first got famous, I noticed that it was kind of like, wow, like some old friends and stuff, you could just tell they actually weren't happy, and you hear they're talking shit behind your back when you're not around, and that was like, it hurt at first. Then this reality kicks in that it's like they're really mad at themselves because they haven't succeeded.
I remember when Andrew Tate saw my brother on TV. My brother does this archaeology stuff, and then he's like, "I saw someone named Scott Dawson. He looks exactly like you. You have to be related." And I was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
That reminds
We're
me, yeah,
twins.
connect me with your brother. Let's do something. I want some totally different topic, not about the Jews. But let's spin back to we were getting into the
Well,
Syria
let's
because
be clear. I know it's funny to say the Jews, but we're not talking about. This is not a
I'm
byproduct
talking
of
about all
biology
Jews.
or
No, I was kidding.
yeah, not all, not all. No, really, it is Israelis. Like Israel's the problem. The state is the problem.
Well,
Judaism, it could be a separate issue of its different problems. Like the religion's got some fucked up things, but this is an Israeli problem. Like
but
that
there is a
state
lot of
is a
American
lunatic
Jews that are
state.
funding it, though. So I'd say it gets complicated there. And when we get into this 9/11, we're gonna be talking about some
Well, it's Jewish
American Jews
supremacy. I mean,
too.
they are ideologically tied to this state, and it is in that
Hold on real
state's
quick.
interest.
I'm just going to adjust your mic a little
Oh,
bit.
I guess I have to apparently.
Breathing noises.
All right, I
This
guess
happens live.
I'm fucking it up in this live. So, anyways, go on. I was saying Jews are evil. He's kidding. That part's being clipped.
I know, like it's very tempting to blow off steam, and it's all people always want to reduce stuff down to the F and this and that, so whatever. But in real life, things are nuanced and complex, and the way it is, like, yeah, there are a lot of Jewish supremacists. Majority of like Judeo-Christian, which is an oxymoron. Like a lot of their supporters in America are Christian Zionists.
Yeah, no, and that's
Protestant, sad to say.
I
And
get
it's
more
just
upset
like,
at those people than the Jews. I could understand it a little bit if it's your ethnicity, but it's like those people piss me off. And no, you do have to be careful not to like. There's been times where I start getting mad at Jews, and you have to breathe and be like, okay, I know some really good Jewish people,
mhm,
but when you see the kids
both
being
of them.
slaughtered, what we've all watched these last couple years, it's
Yeah,
hard.
that's what happens, man. Like, and you got to give people leeway when they see enough dead babies and they say something in anger. And this is the problem with things like Twitter and stuff. Whatever you're feeling in the moment, you can say instantly with no reflection. And man, when you, God damn, dude, we see flesh hanging out of the rubble and these guys celebrating it and stuff, and like, oh, Zyklon B, or like whatever, you get real mad because they're monsters. What they're doing, I mean, they just bombed two cities in front of the world and raping prisoners. They're having a debate in Israel about the right to rape.
And they had
That
riots
wouldn't
to
happen
defend the right
anywhere
to rape.
else in the
No.
world.
It
No.
was embarrassing when we got caught after Iraq torturing prisoners. It was a huge humiliation to America, and we were ashamed. We didn't like
Right.
riot to get them out.
Well, with Abu Ghraib, at least they knew they had to hide it, and they knew they had to lie about it because they knew the American public wouldn't stomach that.
Yep, and people
But
did go to
Israel
jail for
celebrates
that.
it.
People went to
Yeah,
prison, I
Lieutenant
believe, for that.
England and Gardner, they got punished for. But in their side of things, it was not stop torturing people; it was stop the cameras because it's
Yeah.
bad PR.
No, they're
Like,
they're only
oh,
talking about PR. They're not talking about the raping was bad. They're talking about it's bad PR. And they do this like all the time. They do it to children too. It's just things you don't even want to think about, but it's the reality. They live over there.
this is the kind of mindset you have to understand. We'd be like, would they kill Americans? Like,
Yeah, of course.
yes,
Which is,
of course they would.
yeah, people are like, well, they wouldn't do 9/11. It's like, well, look what they're doing over there. Look how they just went and bombed Qatar. What did they bomb? 7 or 8 countries. They on Qatar. They flew right past the largest American base in the Middle East with jets we gave them without telling
Yeah.
Trump and bombed the peacekeepers. Like that is just so insane if you actually think about it.
It's jets that Americans had to pay for, that was gifted to the Israelis so they could go bomb. Well, they bombed people everywhere. In that incident, Qatar, but it could have been Lebanon, it could have been Syria, it could have been
And
Gaza.
we have an agreement with Qatar that no one can attack them, which is why our military base is there. So it's straight a slap in the face to our agreement.
Yeah, what good is it? What good were the where's the alarms even on the air raid defense systems, or do they turn it off? They usually just about anything Israel does, their little sneaky attacks and stuff, they've gotten a green light from the United States. Yeah,
Or
it's
they just
just
do it anyways and then say, "Oh, sorry," because it sounded
yeah,
like
I'm
Trump
sure
was
gonna
actually.
yeah.
It sounded like he was actually kind of pissed off, but then you realize you couldn't do anything. He was just like, I saw in that morning. He's like, they didn't tell me. He was like, or I forget. He changed what he said a couple times, but it looked like he
He's
was
so
pretty pissed
mad
at
about
first.
Iran. He's like, you begged me to call a timeout and knock it off, and then you kept firing after I did it. And he's like, I want a peace prize, damn it! You need to listen to me.
Where's
It was
my
like this
Nobel Peace
ceasefire that
Prize?
lasted 8 hours.
Right. Well, like this last ceasefire, I was like, why aren't you celebrating? Oh, it shows you. It's because we know it's not real. It's like they're still attacking the West Bank. They're still killing people.
They still attacked Gaza. I mean, they were bombing them that night, and then they broke their ceasefire with Lebanon, just to, throw salt in the wound. Like, not only are we not going to keep this ceasefire, as soon as they got the hostages back, they started killing Palestinians again. They bombed the Lebanese, and they just bombed Lebanese, like just bombed apartments, civilians, because they can.
You want to hear something fucked up? I have this friend Brandon, who's a YouTuber. He went and did a little documentary on Lebanon. After the documentary, they went and killed the family of all the people that showed him around. It just made me sick when he told me that because it's like basically you don't even want to go film anything over there. We were talking about filming, so going over there and filming some stuff, and then he told me that story, and it's like fuck, I don't even want to go there and film now. And he's just like, he was just sick. They literally went and killed the entire family of the guy that showed him around for doing a film with him.
There was a journalist named Tim from United Kingdom, and they killed him and the family that was shot. They shot him in the head. And of course, they pancaked Rachel Corrie and had pancake parties, putting her face, like trying to draw her.
Yeah, people won't
Disgusting.
think this is real. They should look it up. Rachel Corrie, American college girl, I think maybe 22 or something, beautiful young girl. She was there trying to stop them from bulldozing a Palestinian's house illegally. I think that was probably in the West Bank, and they
They
just
pinned her with
slowly,
debris and then ran over her and then
slowly
back over her
crushed
again.
her. She like died a couple of days, a day or two later in the hospital. And then they threw a party, a pancake party, because they smashed her into a pancake, mocking her. This is our greatest ally. How are Americans not fucking outraged? How do they not look at
She
this?
was
They
trying
killed
to
this
protect a
fucking beautiful
doctor's
woman.
house.
Yeah, trying to protect a doctor's house. They crush her to death and throw a party mocking her. Not a peep out of any of our politicians. It's just like,
Stole her
I,
corneas too.
oh my
They
God. It
stole
just,
her eyes.
can you imagine her parents? They never, like, I doubt they've ever been brought to
I
Congress.
got a letter from her parents. It's hard to even talk about, but then I think like this is okay. This is someone I sort of knew. She's all right. She would have been our age. Uh, but you got to think like this is every day for these people. They're killing Palestinians every day, and they were
can you
doing it
imagine
before
living through
October
that?
7th.
The other day, I watched
Okay.
this little girl, maybe 5 years old. The guy walks over, and just rips the bike out of her hand, and she's just crying, trying to get her bike back. He probably just bringing it for his kids. Just like yeah, girl's not gonna be able to get another bike. Just the pure evil and sickness of this stuff. I have to not look at these Telegram channels too often because it just messes up my psyche.
hmm The more, the more evil, the more they enjoy it. It's the weirdest thing, and you can look at any like almost any other conflict. Usually, the side, like both sides, think they're right, and they're fighting for something. The Israelis know what they're doing is sadistic, and they don't care. They're like, we're killing Amalek. Like,
And they do it openly in front of us. Oh, I just want to add in real quick while before I forget. People can send super chats if they want. If you want to talk shit about Ryan, you got to pay at least $50. For $5, I'm not going to read it.
that's
People
right.
sometimes like to send super chats. Like I said, obviously, guys like us are
Make
demonetized for
make
every.
hate expensive.
Yeah, we're demonetized from everything. So if you want to support the fight, the podcast, fightbackpodcast.com, you got merch. I just got a new sponsor, armslist.com. That's peer-to-peer gun selling. This is a base, a freedom-loving person owns this company. Also, Antelope Hill Publishing is a book sponsor. So without these sponsors, I wouldn't be able to do this. I'm spending more energy on this than anything else. And Ryan, he has his awesome shirt. Israel. Yeah, you have to send me some shirts, and I'll send you some of mine. Where can people buy your stuff at, Ryan?
Oh, it's antineocon.com.
Yeah, because like I said, guys like us, we get by with the support of our fans, so appreciate all the help. But I know it's tough out there, so if people can't afford it, don't buy it because it's tough times for a lot of people right now.
Send a high five, fuck Lincoln.
Hmm.
$5 donation.
But
Just say
well,
fuck Lincoln.
anyways, let's get back. I wanted to get depth into 9/11. So there's so much we could talk about. We should do a separate one of the Israeli
Yes. I was
settlers one
going
of
to
these
say, Al
times.
Qaeda does it mostly, but not by themselves. And this is a pattern where you'll see state sponsored terrorism. And the most obvious example is ISIS because it was so large scale that this group, like Al Nusra Front, was Turkish. You had Aral al Sham, you had the FSA, you had the moderate rebels that also cut off heads
The
and did all the
moderate
terrorist
rebels.
things. So you have state sponsorship for well, it's like supposed to be covert, but it's not. It's overt. Everybody knows that these were mercenaries sent into Syria, and you saw that with the Mujahideen and freedom fighters in Afghanistan,
Hmm.
and there was covert support for the Contras during Iran-Contra, and we know because a plane went down full of arms. It was like guns in, drugs out type situation. Although the drugs didn't pay that much, it was mostly contraband. The drugs is I swear they bring them in to break society on purpose. But
What
so there's a
drugs were they bringing? What
precedent,
drugs were they
and it's
bringing
the
in there?
same people, like the same people in Iran Contra, the Michael Ledeen's, Gorbanifars and stuff, and the Bushes are gonna be evolved again in September 11th. And so, as I was saying, in the 70s after Watergate, the CIA had to figure out a more clever way for money laundering. You can't really go to Congress and say, "Hey, can we have $1 billion to pay terrorist groups and warlords?" They're going to say no. So now they might say yes, but
Yeah.
so they offshored it and they brought in the Saudis. They created a group called the Safari Club, which was supposed to be messing around in Africa, but it kind of morphed into this secondary CIA, as Peter Dale Scott called it, where they just moved Langley to Riyadh and they used a bunch of Islamic charities and banks and things to move the money around. So
Oh, hold
it's
on.
not under the scrutiny of Virginia anymore. It's
Was it
now
funded
in
by a
Saudi
Saudi or an
Arabia.
American?
Well, it was put together by Americans, but they had partners. One of them was nicknamed as Bandar Bush because he's so close to the Bushes, and
That's right.
they also work with some Pakistanis and ISI to set up these banks. Because before you can do any operation, you have to have property, headquarters, and finance. So they did, and one of the main conduits was called BCCI, and that was the bank. It finally got shut down in the early 90s because of so much corruption, but they were the ones moving money around and sponsoring these madrasas, radicalized imams, and terrorist groups all over the world. And this is what they call upon when they want to send in cannon fodder into Bosnia or Chechnya or Afghanistan or use them on our own soil or throw them into Syria, as we've seen recently.
Hmm.
And it's the same model in North Africa when you see the Al Shabaab and Boko Haram in Nigeria, for example, and even the covert sponsor of it for the Tuareg in Mali. And it's always the same modus operandi, as they say. It's the same method of moving the money around in a cryptic way through banks, schools, and charities. To
So what
where
do
they
people
have
need?
plausible deniability, so they can say, "Oh, I just thought these guys were innocent Muslims that were just trying to I don't do whatever in the United States." You know that's not true though, because for example, with 9/11, the Kurdish mosque in San Diego helped, which one of the perpetrators he spent $400,000 to help set that up. Omar
Yeah.
Bayumi, he's working for the Saudi government, and he gets two future 9/11 hijackers and gets them a house, meets them in L.A. but brings them down to San Diego. These imams, I won't bore people with all the names and things. It's all in the film, but these people shelter these hijackers who can barely speak English. They get them a house, pay their rent, get them cell phones, get all the things, give them all the logistical support, make sure they're going to flight schools, everything they need, and they can act like, oh, we're innocent. We didn't know they were going to be terrorists later.
But they were
At that point,
they helped them get
it's
here.
not illegal. You can buy someone a house because they haven't done 9/11 yet, so they're not a criminal. You can do
People
this.
just don't just buy random people houses, though.
No, I mean it's super sus.
Thanks for watching Fight Back Podcast. If you like the show, like, subscribe, or share the video. There's also donation links in the descriptions. Hey guys, Jake Shields here. As you know, I have a free speech podcast. It'd be impossible to keep it going without my sponsors. So today my sponsor is AntelopeHillPublishing.com. So go to their site and use the promo code FIGHTBACK, and they have lots of different books that are hard to get, foreign languages interpreted. Today I recommend the book Opiate of the Masses. It is a full investigative journalism of the opiate crisis in America. Again, AntelopeHillPublishing.com, and be sure to use the promo code FIGHTBACK.
And then the fact that on these people are so stupid. On the landline inside the home, they're calling an Al Qaeda safe house in Yemen, and they also know that Khalid al-Midhar and Nawif al-Hazmi is who I'm talking about. They're on Flight 77. The CIA had traced them to a Al Qaeda summit meeting in Malaysia where they met KSM, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. He's the mastermind of September 11th, right-hand man to Osama bin Laden. His nephew, Ramzi Youssef, attacked the World Trade Center in 1993 with the truck bomb.
Oh, wow.
They know they met. They stayed the night. They had eyes on them. They had ears on them. They had their phone numbers. The NSA also had their communications, and nobody acted on their own information, and nobody shared their information with other agencies. And you'll see a similar story
Weren't
with
they
the
even, like,
FBI.
hiding it?
Because the plan
They weren't
was to
passing it
get
on?
them. No, what they're doing is they're protecting them from local law enforcement all the way up to the point where they're on the plane. And the Israelis, they protected them. They were eavesdropping on their phones. Their phones, meaning the police. Like every time the police were
Yes,
trying to do
that's
electronic
important.
surveillance.
They have our police where they can listen to the police's phone calls. They
Well, they
the
block it.
DEA,
They know
the
who's
FBI.
calling from where and when. And they, at that time, it was Amdocs and Converse. They spied on my computer. They were they were shielding 9/11 hijackers when they were in Florida. They could have been caught right then. And these Israeli groups, they live right next to them.
Yeah,
These
they were in the
DEA
same
groups.
town, both in Hollywood,
Yes.
Florida, correct?
Yeah, a lot. They were all wherever
Not
they
all
went.
of them,
they
but some of them, I
followed.
believe, were in Hollywood. I think some of the
15
Israeli
of them were in
spies.
that general area.
Yeah.
Yeah, and or get the schools there, and they enter there. Most of them enter where their port of entry was somewhere in Florida. Almost everybody. But it's like they were already had this ecstasy ring with about $80 million worth of ecstasy they were pushing, and they were spying on the Drug Enforcement Agency because it's something you need to keep tabs on the ones trying to keep tabs on you. So rather than just building a new network, they just grafted onto a pre-existing one that was already in there, and they had them monitor these hijackers and protect them from local law enforcement. And the Orlando DEA and the Miami FBI field office knew about these guys and immediately reported that to Newark FBI once some Israelis had been arrested right after, like on the day of 9/11. They caught a bunch of them. Then they did a sweep and put like 200 of them temporarily in jail, not prison.
That's just the ones
and
they
then
caught.
end up just deporting
200
them
Israeli spies.
instantly.
Yeah.
They knew to go through these art rings. They aren't selling glitter cats, whatever. They had fake universities. It was just a bullshit way to get a visa. That's all.
They were even
That's
like
all.
stopping by DEA agents' houses and stuff, I read.
They went in. They visited military facilities, DA at their homes. They went deep, and trying to sell this stuff. But they trying to lure them too, because they usually get like two young, attractive women if it's a guy, and push, and then they'd have a driver and they'd have a spotter. And the moving companies are an excellent way to not be that suspicious, where you can have a van and a listening device and spying on somebody, and just looks like, oh well, we're must be moving across the street or whatever. Since Americans don't know their own neighbors, you can do that,
Right.
especially in New York and New Jersey. Like, oh, I don't know, there's a movie van. They must be doing moving stuff or whatever.
No big deal.
And they live right next to Muhammad Atta. They also live next to his post box because he didn't put that next to his house. He had it 400 yards away. But they were spying on everything. They knew where they were. They actually warned each other after the fact and said, yeah, we had eyes on these guys. And in fact, one of the 9/11 hijackers got a ride up to New York from Florida by Classic International Movers, which is one of these Israeli front companies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't just urban movers, correct? I think I saw that in your film that there were several moving
Yeah, Urban
companies that
Moving
were Israeli
Systems
tied.
is, yeah, they're more infamous because they had the three guys that were celebrating, and then the two that they picked up afterward from White Glove Movers, another moving company, who were high-fiving and hugging each other and flicking lighters in two locations. One was in Doric Towers, which it's in New Jersey, but it's on like a cliff that you could see
So
over
it's
top.
right across where you can look into New York.
Perfect where Ground Zero was. And the other was on the roof of Urban Moving Systems.
I didn't realize there was
So
two separate groups, and I thought it was one group of 5. So it was 2 separate groups.
There's one group of 3.
Okay.
It was Sivan Kursberg and Yarn Schmuel and Oded Eldner, and then they picked up Paul Kursberg, who's Sivan Kursberg's brother, and Omir Mamari later from another moving company called White Glove Movers. Not to be
Interesting.
confused,
I
there
thought
is
they
a
were
White
all-
Glove Movers today that is not the same White Glove Movers. Which is the
Hopefully
same
they're
name.
not an Israeli op spy company that blows up buildings, but maybe.
Yeah. Well, there was another van. Witnesses saw another van parked behind theirs, but they had enough discipline to not get outside and celebrate. They just sat there, watched it, drove away. But photographs of all these things were sent to Langley and Quantico, and like this all in the movie. But the ones that were celebrating really shit the bed because one of the witnesses, and there are multiple witnesses, it's not just Maria Septinelli, but one of them who had gotten their license plate with the binoculars called the cops, but she waited till her husband got home to do so. So it wasn't until about 3:56 that they got pulled over near the Meadowlands. And the bomb sniffing dogs had a hit for traces of explosives in their van. And this is not like a hard thing for a dog to smell, like certain drugs and stuff. A person can almost smell that. A dog, it's really accurate.
Like positive.
That's
yeah.
not to be confused with a different van near the George Washington Bridge that all media reported packed with explosives. And
That's
that was even
weird.
reported the following 2 days later when they asked Giuliani and Carrick about it, and they admitted that there were arrests, and Carrick said there were no explosives. But if you know about Bernard Carrick, which I went deep into in the film,
Yeah, go touch into him just to. There's so much to cover, but go real
he's the
quick.
police
on him.
commissioner,
just-
by the way.
It's so insane, all these connections. It's just
Oh,
all
yeah.
coincidences. But well,
Yeah.
just real quick, let me explain. So they found another bomb full of explosives. What bridge did you say it was? The Washington.
van.
Yeah, tons
Near the George
of,
Washington
yeah,
Bridge.
tons
Yeah.
of news media reported on it. They said they mentioned it the day after, then it just disappeared.
Yeah, it was like, shut up and don't talk about it. They're like, well, why were they arrested? He's like, oh, I don't know. Like, yeah. Well, Bernard Carrick had a $250,000 loan from Eitan Wertheimer, the richest man in Israel. He's on the board of governors of the Jewish agency. It was the same agency that sent the dancing Israelis to document the event in the first place. Dominic Suter's Urban Moving System gets a $500,000 loan in 2001 and only in 2001. That's a lot for that. And all these 20-something-year-old furniture movers can just quit in a random Tuesday in September and go on exotic vacations like Australia and India and Germany. So like you minimum wage workers.
All 5 of them had plane tickets the following Tuesday, or I'm not sure what day the tax were, but
It's
it was
like they
Tuesday.
knew that was their last day of work. Huh.
Yep, and one of them had $5,000 cash on them. These were movers. I worked for a moving company. I think around that same time
too.
period, probably made like $15 an hour. It's like I didn't have $5,000 cash.
They were only
I
making
couldn't
10.
afford. Yeah, I couldn't afford to travel across the country. Yeah, not the country to another country. They're flying like all different destinations. This is too.
Well, it's
many
not even
freaking
like a
coincidences.
holiday period like September 11th, a random Tuesday in 2001, like you're just going to quit and fly to Australia. Like,
Yeah, all 5 of them. I think it was all different places too. It's just so bizarre.
all different places, and they scattered. And it's more than that. I mean, it's just there's so much evidence that there's no explanation for why these terrorists got visas. There's no explanation why the CIA did not share its intel with the FBI. And in fact, they said they did when they didn't.
Yeah, they were trying to hide it.
Queen
making
of Torture was saying that, and Eleanor Hill said No, there's no. They look through logbooks and everything. There's no. You never shared this intel, and people who did get wind of it, like in the Washington field office, for example, and Sybil Edmonds and Sasha, they knew they had an Iranian informant that said, "Look, they're going to flight schools. They're already in America. They're going to attack here." And their supervisor, name is Mike Fageli. He didn't want any part of it. It's like, no, shut up. So the bottleneck positions at the FBI, which a man named Jeff Gates is brilliant on, try and get him on the show. Those, and then the CIA, what they call like the Bin Laden unit, and these like joint FBI CIA creations, they're not joint. They're 99% CIA, 1% FBI. So whatever they find, it's like it doesn't matter because it's not going to go to FBI headquarters. It certainly wasn't going to go to John O'Neill. They kept it like damage control. And so I don't even know, like, why even listening to them and following them around if you're not going to act on your information? Were you going to try to flip them? Like, what was the plan? You can try to think of some excuses. But when you really put it all together, the only sane conclusion is that this was collusion with plausible deniability as the excuse. But say, oh, we're just incompetent. No. I mean, yes, they're incompetent, but that's not why that
Well, the
happened.
evidence is just too overwhelming. I think it's starting to come out. But guys like you did this early on this research, but I think it's just getting. I don't
Yeah,
know if it'll
Osama
ever.
Basnan, Omar Bayoumi, these middlemen, none of them in jail, nothing. I mean, Bayoumi got in a little trouble in the UK briefly, but there's film of him that came out in 2022 casing the White House, filming how many police and where the entrance and exits are and everything. And he's at a dinner party with a couple of the hijackers. He also met Hanji Hanjor, so 3 hijackers. Nothing. And the victims' families are suing. Think about it. If they were already adults in 2001, it's now 2025. Like, how long are these cases going to be? They're going to be dead before they get results. Like,
Yeah, I know a lady who lost her husband in 9/11. Makes me so sad. I don't think she has any clue of the. I haven't had the heart to even talk to her about it. It's just like I think she thinks it's the original story is correct. It's just so it completely changed her life and just obviously was downhill from there. Just the devastation it's done to people. So the dancing Israelis, how did they get out of jail? Because clearly they should have been kept in jail. I believe they failed lie
Chertoff.
detector tests. Michael
well,
Chertoff.
Israeli pressure. They basically, like, a lot of the FOIA that I did is whited out, so you don't know why. But in the there's 5 sections that completely condemn them. These guys are livid, pissed off. They know they're involved. They all have different stories from each other. It's just clear. And most damning is they photographed their van leaving urban moving systems that passed by an Exxon gas station. It's one of the only gas stations around. And that was between 8:29 and 8:31. The first plane doesn't hit till 8:46. So this whole story of the plane hit, we heard the news, so we rushed out there, bull, because you are photographed heading that way before the plane hit. You're witnessed at the towers before the plane hit, and you're witnessed by binoculars at the tower, like right as the plane had just hit. Like, you're just instantly there and celebrating.
And they're celebrating. Who
Like
the fuck celebrates
a plane
crashing
crash.
into a tower, to a giant building? Like,
Oh,
that's not normal
awesome! A
behavior.
bunch of people just
High
died.
five,
Hooray!
Brian. People just people just died in that
But they
plane
are
with their
Israelis,
families.
so that could just be
True.
normal Israeli behavior.
True.
Like, a bunch of
Maybe
people
they're just
died.
being
Yay!
Israeli. Yeah.
Innocent civilians are dead. Yay! Praised Yahweh. Like, who knows? They're like, it was probably a bunch of goy on the plane, so it's a win-win. Yeah, they even said, "Oh, at first we thought it was an accident. Why are you celebrating an accident then? It still doesn't make sense."
It's very
And there's
clear.
more Israelis at Liberty State Park who lied and said they were Polish. Glenn Ford got that story from. Yeah, it's just there's so much evidence. The problem has always been the Alex Jones. Like, what I have, information I have, I cannot get my foot in the door to talk about 9/11 without some jack off talking about nanothermite and holograms and blah, 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 whatever. And, saying a missile at the Pentagon and stuff.
Distracting and putting you down the
Yeah,
wrong
it's
direction
just
so
like
you make you
the
look
clown,
crazy.
the circus clown is out there. The guy that said the Moab Gaza inch by inch and rose. He's there, and people like that are there to take all this well-meaning, perfectly reasonable skepticism of official stories and swerve it off a cliff. So you're just barking up the wrong tree forever. You're never going to get any answers if you're going to deny hijackers. You're definitely not getting anywhere if you're going to deny airplanes.
Back to
And
the
just
high.
obsessing with stuff that doesn't really make a difference.
I have a question real quick. I mean, they seem like there was hijackers and there were definitely planes. Do you think it's possible there was some kind of, they have, what do they call that for when planes are hijacked? Because they were working on software that could basically take over and where they could fly the plane from headquarters. Do you think there's a
Yeah, they
possibility of
ain't
that?
going to risk that. They're going to use people. And another thing, like, for example, Flight 93 did not hit its target because the passengers overwhelmed them and took
Yeah.
it down. If it had been on remote control, it wouldn't have mattered what the passengers did. It still would have gone where it was going.
That's an interesting
You
point.
have to have
I know some
hijackers
people. I know
also
some
to
people have
explain
that
why a
theory.
plane turns around mid-flight. Like, they would all call me, like, the plane is just acting on its own. Like, you got to at least have the pretense of someone flying it. You have to. No, they
What
get
about
it. I mean,
the?
you don't need to go to flight school and all this stuff, which is making more risk for the operation
That's true. They went to
if
flight
it's
school.
automatically going to work from remote control.
Why do people say a missile hit the Pentagon? What's that coming
Because
from?
some stupid music video went out in 2001 that showed the exit hole and presented it as the entry hole. I'm like, a plane doesn't fit in a 16-foot hole. I'm like, that ain't the hole.
No, it's
Like,
important to get this stuff right. For me, the hijacking one, that's I don't know enough about plane technology, so I didn't have a strong opinion of that one. But like a missile hitting the Pentagon and stuff, spreading stuff like that is clearly just doing damage to making
it's
us
to
look
make
like
our
kooks.
side look retarded because it is. Our
Yeah,
side is retarded.
well, there's a lot of
It's like-
retarded people everywhere.
they're so gaslit because the government lies to them about everything.
Hmm.
They lied about COVID. They lied about Iraq. They just lie. And so everything that happens, they're like, well, not that. But the problem is
They go
then
too
some
far.
charlatan like Jones comes in and gives them a different lie and just says, oh, and he positions himself like, if you don't believe me, then the only other option is official story and you believe the government. Blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Like, oh, so official story? Like, no, not official story. There were live reports of truck bombs on 9/11. That's not in the official, like they say, no, planes alone. There's 3 different things help bring those buildings down in New York.
Yep.
The most obvious is the World Trade Center 1 and 2 were hit by an airplane. The fire prevention systems had been sabotaged, which you don't need to do if you have bombs in the building. And there were truck bombs in the basement.
So that was like the whole water system, or what do you mean by the fire system?
The sprinkler system, the main thing that would put a gas to firemen, like it. Somebody had been upgrading sprinkler systems, which means sabotaging. This
Interesting.
guy named Khalid Dalla and his cohorts. Actually, I'll tell the story. So, in
Yeah, there's
Tennessee,
so many
I
pieces.
think it was in Memphis, Tennessee, a group of guys with a ringleader from Jerusalem. You can guess which side of Jerusalem. Who speaks English.
Not the Palestinian.
Well, you can guess. You can guess. With Sakira Hamad and some other guys, Mohammed Fanners and whatever. They were serendipitously caught in a sting with the DMV. That's the Department of Motor Vehicles, if you're not American, where they were getting fake licenses because in Tennessee at that time in 2001, you didn't need a social security number to get a driver's license. And the reason for that is because all the trucking industry and stuff in Tennessee, they kind of like look the other way if you're willing to drive, whatever. So they were getting licensed where it was easy to get. And it was actually 6 guys. One of them was under 18, so I don't have his name. But the others, they all went to jail except for the top 2 guys. Somebody paid $250,000 bail for truck drivers, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
They typically don't have
They got
that,
caught in a
especially back
sting
then.
for fake license. The worker that they had, the insider at the DMV, her name was Catherine Smith. They bribed her. They bought her a car. They were getting it so that she would give them these licenses. And so they arrested these guys in the parking lot of the DMV. They're so stupid that they didn't compartmentalize this, but whatever. And one of the men, when he was arrested, he had a pass on his person to do work at the World Trade Center dated September 5th. Now, only the Port Authority can hire people for any kind of infrastructure on the building, the internet cables, water systems, da 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 da. And the way those buildings worked is they had, if you look at the World Trade Center, they have these sort of darker gray stripes every so many floors. Those are called the mechanical rooms. And those rooms are in charge of like relay pumps that would push water, not just to the sprinkler system, but anything, toilet, sink, all that, like plumbing. They have to have these pumps in the mechanical room. If you sabotage that, you don't need to go to every floor. All you really need to do is hit the bottom mechanical room, and then everything above
And
it
then it won't go up.
Right. And that is where the smoke starts.
They shouldn't have had access there.
No, they should not have. And they're like, well, maybe a tenant hired them. Like, what were you doing? Because they had another card called Magic Heating and Plumbing, which is not a real business. It was just a residential address
all
to
these
a
shell businesses they create.
person in New York.
A Jewish person.
Sergey
thrown out on
Denko.
YouTube.
Ethnicity unknown.
Every single time. Every single time.
Yeah, he's a Jewish guy, and David Connell, and those two guys got in trouble and for fraud, where they had made fraudulent fire suppression credential reference letters. So no one wrote these references. They wrote them themselves and praised their own company, which was not a real company. It's a front company. There's no business address, just his room or whatever. And
just a Jewish
hired
guy's
these
house.
He was promised to him 3,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And so he took. I think he actually bought his house. He didn't steal it with a bulldozer. He's not that Israeli, but anyway, they hired these people to do work on fire suppression systems through a fake company with
That's crazy.
fraudulent fire suppression credentials. And they had done this all over New York, by the way. It's such a scam. So these people should not have been in there. They had access to the towers. But in the case, they're not on trial for 9/11. It's all just coincidence that, oh, you were working in the World Trade Center a week before 9/11. Isn't that odd? Oh, one of you drove an Aero truck all the way from New York to Tennessee on the day of 9/11. What a coincidence. That's not illegal, but that's weird. So it was a whole bunch of weird but not illegal things. Getting the fake license is illegal. So they threw him in jail for that. But they could only throw him in jail for that. That's why the bail was...
And someone paid his $250,000 bail.
Twice. Yeah, and got
sure, just some truck driver has that just sitting around.
Yeah, they got the ringleaders out, let the rest of them rot. And I was like, what kind of truck driver has $250,000? This is in 2001, so that's a lot more than now. Nobody. And
yeah, not many.
Nah.
But I'm sure he had a nice Jewish friend who did.
It gets super mysterious. I don't even have that now. The super mysterious is Catherine Smith, who would have had the most information, well loved in her community. She had adult sons she was taking care of. She was murdered. They said suicide, but suicide by fire in her own car with traces of gasoline in her clothing. And there's an FBI agent, an actual honest one. Her name is Susan Nash, that did a big report on this. She was burned so badly her arms had fallen off. Like it was rough to look at. You can see pictures of the car in my film. I did not show her corpse, but you do have to kind of know the body farms in Tennessee, so that pathologists all will agree she didn't light herself on fire. I hope they killed her first and put her in their car, and then burned her body. And what happened is
Probably not.
the car didn't explode, so you can't make it look like a car accident. So it just burned her in front seats and stuff in the back. It's gross. But this happened while they were in jail. The key witness to their case.
I'm sorry, what was her involvement? She was the witness. She was the witness against them. That was her.
She's the key witness on the license fraud.
Oh my God, she was That's crazy. I missed what you said before it was burning up. I didn't realize the key witness to that. Oh my,
she's the key witness in the case, and the day before the trial, she, was suicided. Wow. Let's just say that.
By burning herself to death. Brutal, horrific way to die.
She did not do that to herself. And she had a huge funeral. This woman was very popular, apparently. And nobody believed she killed herself.
Yeah.
Then you find out
said she killed herself by lighting herself on fire.
People in jails roll with September 11th, super sus. Aero Trucks, by the way, was this company that it's like just a generic like moving van type that you could slap like a Ryder truck is an aero truck.
Yeah,
You just put a logo on there, and then you have a truck.
that's your company.
Yeah, and so that there's a lot of sus, but it's all circumstantial again. So I don't put everything in the film. I only put
Yeah,
the
but there's
hard.
so many pieces.
You
It's
do
like,
need to
you
know. Yeah.
So you maybe let's say you throw a few of them out. There's just too many. Like there's so many more questions I have for you. Like we're just getting started. We
Well,
won't.
you know,
There's no way we'll cover
it's
everything in this
it's
interview.
free. RyanDawson.org. Like,
Yeah, no, I highly recommend everyone watch it. It was,
like I'm not trying to sell a film. It's free.
yeah, it's
You
free.
go to
Exactly.
RyanDawson.org. You can
I
get
was
it.
planning
You
on
want to
going
get
there
a
and
map?
buying
You
it.
can.
I guess
But
I should go buy. I need to go buy stuff. I was actually going on there to buy your film, and it was free. I'm like, oh wow, that's amazing, because you
it's
deserve
free.
you
You can
deserve to make some money for your
volunteer.
film. But it's good you're
You
giving out
can.
for free. But people hopefully will donate too.
Yeah, I mean, I wrestled with it, but like, it's got to be free because it's so important. You have to know what happened on 9/11. This leads into the Iraq War and other things too. So, all right, we did a fundraiser. We got it so that everyone can watch this. But if you want to sign up to my Substack, it's only like $6. Like that's not even lunch. That's per month, not a day.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
in
gonna
a
go sign
month,
up.
Six
If I
dollars
remember,
in
I'll
a
sign
month
up
is
after this interview
nothing.
today. Exactly, because
It's
it's
like
like
get in
no
and get
people like
that.
you are so important to be able to we need you to research full time so you could do this. The amount of
That's
work
what
you
I
put
ought to
into
be
this stuff.
doing. And I need to also pay people to do. I can do research and narration and stuff. This is a skill I have. Visuals, especially with my eye the way it is, like that's done. Like
Yeah. By the way, how is your eye? Is it recovering, or is it still?
it's actually not bloody today, is it? Or is
I
it? I
can't
don't
really
know.
see it. I didn't notice it until you mentioned it. I remember
Yeah,
you had that eye problem. Was 6 months
it's
ago or
not
something? You
bad.
have bad eye problems.
Your eyes heal really fast, by the way, like the whites of them. But it's behind it. That's the problem. It's wet macular degeneration. So I'm going blind in one eye.
Yeah.
What happens is every 80 to 90 days, I have to get a needle put through my eyeball. They put in an anti-VEGF shot, and it'll clear up for a while, and then it starts to return, and I have to get another shot.
Yeah.
However, I made it 115 days. So a little
109 you should go
25.
for.
Yeah, you said 90. Well, I did 115. But then it started getting like all lines start to rainbow like this and faces
Yeah.
get distorted and it sucks. But the
Yeah.
shots, she said I'm taken to them very well, like more than anyone else. But that's also because I've got this so young. Most people don't even get
Yeah.
this until they're like
Well,
70.
we need you to keep researching. So keep your vision, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm hoping it doesn't spread to this side. And that's what made me scared. Is there is a time limit. And like I want to do films on the Kennedy assassinations, Epstein, these things that
Yeah.
I already have the information in my head.
No,
But
there's
it's
so many.
there's a lot of stuff and I'm the guy to do it. But I have to have people on Substack. I don't have any other like sponsors. I'm not allowed on any social media other than Twitter, and that's nerfed. Twitter's
Well,
so
I'm
bad.
gonna go sign
I
up
think I've
today, and
lost,
hopefully
like,
other
400
people will
followers.
too.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, when they bought TikTok, now they don't have to compete. And so they shut the door. It could have been coincidence because he started letting AI do the policing. But I don't know, dude. I don't know if I'm gonna ask you this too. I recently have gotten all this Hasbro Israeli crap in my feed. And I'll click through and somebody with like 28 followers. I'm like, why is this in my feed?
Yeah, on
Why?
Twitter. Yeah, that's all. I get so much of that Hezbollah. It's just
But I get
nonstop.
nothing from you, nothing from like Anna
Yeah,
Kasparian, like
they've
nothing from the people I
rewritten
used to
the
see.
logarithm where guys like us get shadow banned. I still get a little engagement, but it's clearly shadow banned.
I have to go to
They
your
don't even deny
page
it. Yeah, you have to go
and
look.
look and look, what's Jake talking about? It never comes in my feed anymore. I'm like, these are people I've interacted with and who've
Yeah.
interacted with me,
That should what
and I
we
never.
yeah we should be fed each other because I retweet your stuff, I like your stuff, but yet I'm still not fed your content either. I have to go to your page, and if we like each other's content, quote tweet each other and stuff, that means we should automatically fed to each other, but it's not. We're clearly I don't think they deny
Something
it, but
happened.
I think they admitted that they're going after anti-Semitic speech. My TikTok is so badly shadow banned. I think I stopped using it. I might start another one. It's just
There's
pointless.
nothing that makes people hate Jews more than the behavior of Israelis.
That is true. No, they
Like
do
most
stuff.
people are like, why would you hate Jews? Like, why? It is stupid. But people look at Israel that calls itself the Jewish state and does all that crap in their name, and it makes them look bad.
No, yeah, they're doing all the shit, and then when I speak out against it, I get demonetized from YouTube, demonetized from Twitter, shadow banned, like getting in trouble. I can't even like this interview. Oh, we're not doing anything bad,
Welcome
but
to my
I can't put this
everyday.
on there. No, you've dealt with it, like you've gone through a lot. Like you were one of the original guys. I'm so
I got
thankful I didn't
banned
wake up till recently.
MySpace.
MySpace was awesome
2005.
too. Even Tom banned you,
MySpace
good
is
old Tom.
huge. It was
You know what?
back
I'm gonna see if
then.
I can
That
get
was
in contact with Tom. That'd be funny to interview Tom.
yeah.
See what
Tom
he's
is
like. But no, MySpace was awesome. I didn't
he's
know
probably
they
swimming in
banned
gold
people,
coins like Scrooge McDuck.
right? He sold right at
The
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 right
younger
time.
people don't know. MySpace was so much bigger than Facebook.
It was
MySpace was
amazing.
like the third largest after Google and Yahoo, because Yahoo used to be big. And I don't know. It was MySpace. There was like that's what it was. There was no
That-
YouTube yet.
yeah, it
So
was the first social media I used, and it was awesome. You meet all kinds of cool people. That was the time in my life when the only thing I cared about was fighting and girls, and I had my page all pimped out, and then everyone started switching to Facebook. I'm like, wait, why are people doing this? Makes you wonder. I wonder
now
how
now
much of
it's
that was
fighting
the
girls
government.
and sticking it to Zog.
Yeah, exactly. My life has completely
That's like
changed.
that. I don't know if anybody got my dog whistle here with the Korean zombie, but Zom is on the
Zombie.
can. The Zionist
The Zom
occupation
instead of the
media.
Zog.
Well, Zom is Zionist occupation media. Zog is Zionist occupation government. So I get these people,
Yeah,
I
it's
see
occupation
them.
media. That's a banned word,
Zom's
Zog.
the problem.
You can get in
It
trouble for
wouldn't be a
saying
Zog
Zog.
without the Zom.
The Zom feeds the Zog. But yeah, Zog is hate speech, which clearly we're a Zionist occupied government, but it's hate speech to say that.
Pat Buchanan said it. Like our Congress is Zionist occupied. It is. They all got an AIPAC guy, just like Thomas Massey said. A U.S. congressman from Kentucky said, everybody's got an AIPAC handler. AIPAC right now is trying to rebrand
So they can,
where they're like, don't donate to us, just go directly.
Yeah.
Or go through UDP. UDPs are
yeah,
other
exactly. They're going
AIPAC.
to donate different ways. That Miriam Alderson, I just read, I think she's putting $20 million to try to defeat Massey. And she's a dual citizen. She served in the IDF.
She's born in Israel.
Yeah, she flew Jonathan Pollard, who's the worst spy in American history, flew him back to Israel on a private jet. This girl is our enemy. That's Trump's top donor, too. And it's just clearly our
She's
country's
evil.
occupied.
I met someone that worked with her.
You can just see the evilness in her.
She talks like this. She's just so gross. One time, she wanted to do the treadmill or whatever, and she left her iPad or something at the airport. She's rich enough to just buy another one, but she sent the guy all the way there to get it and bring it back. Just to,
So
to be a
stereotypical. Do you see how the guy threw pennies or money at Dave Portnoy and got arrested? Do you think he'd want the money?
I mean, maybe the coins had edges.
Maybe they're clipped the coins. You think
No,
you
they
think he'd be stoked?
they were ridge coins, and he didn't like them.
Couldn't clip them.
Thank you, Isaac Newton. One day he's not going to be known for his theories on force and gravity. It's going to be he put ridges on the coins.
Wait, Isaac Newton did that?
Isaac Newton is the one that came up with that.
Really? Wow, I didn't know
Actually,
that.
if you go to London, you can see his office there near the White Tower, where I was moved by this. The whole crowd was just, man, listen to the yeoman. He's always telling jokes and stuff. But I'm like looking through the window. I'm like, wow, Isaac Newton used to sit in that office and study and do Newton stuff. It was really amazing. I'm like, that's where ridges on the coins began, right there through that window. Took a
What
picture of the
genius. He
window
came up
and I
with the
put it on
ridges.
Twitter. Huh? Yeah.
What a
the whole-
genius. He came up with the
Because
ridges
people
for
were
coins.
clipping coin. You know what happened.
What people
You
were
know.
clipping coins.
Yeah. Goblins.
Yeah. Well, that's fairly accurate.
I mean, that's, that's what happened. So you got to say it. And this is it. They'd always had this problem all the way back to Archimedes, when he's discovering buoyancy and they're trying to weigh things and how much water does it displace? Because you can salt bars of gold. People doing that today with tungsten and stuff, like it's not pure this and that.
Really?
No. It's always been a major problem. Like, how can you figure out if this has something else in the center without melting it down? And so that's what, they were figuring out. So, but with the coins, they're like, well, you can stop the clipping by having ridges. It's that easy. So that was Newton.
Newton's a complete genius. I had no idea
He's a
that was
G.
Newton. That's just I
Doesn't
learned
that make
something
him even
very
more cool? Like,
yeah, that makes it so cool. I learned something. All right, interview's over. That was cool
it's like
enough.
Ben Franklin invented the rocking chair. He should be.
Really?
That's awesome, right? You know, he
Dude,
did
I'm
work
looking
on
this stuff up to make sure you're
electricity.
not fucking with
He's a
me.
founding father. He invented bivocals. He
I
made
love the
a
rocking
musical
chair.
instrument. Started one of the first newspapers in America, uh, the Courant Almanac, the Daily Almanac. Like he started all that. The his Poor Richard series. The dude is like such a polymath.
Wow.
But one of the things he did on the side was make a rocking chair.
That's so awesome. Like,
Isn't that cool?
yeah,
And he had a mullet the whole time.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, I want to
He's
make
got. If
these
you look
little
at $100 bill, it's old Ben Franklin with his mullet, like full on
interesting.
bald here, mullet there. What's that called? It's a
The
certain kind of mullet. I forget it.
fuck, there's a
Might be
name
called
for
the
it, but I
Franklin
can't think
mullet.
of it.
Actually, it might be named after him. He's got his
I,
own
I,
mullet.
I want to make little mini documentaries on all these cool characters, not like in depth as yours, but just of like our little
If
like
you want
stories
dumb trivia,
with all these like yeah. I'll call you some questions. There's just so many interesting characters that people don't know a lot about. It'd be cool to go in and tell some of the stories.
macaroni and cheese and Thomas Jefferson. That's a cool story too.
I
There's a
didn't know
lot of
that.
neat things. These guys, I got a couple on a back wall. There's Nathan Forrest and Robert E. Lee, and that guy with the dark circles. I don't know him, but
Can't see. Oh,
oh, it's
it's
me.
too. Sit a little monster.
But well, I've always had these. I got these Native American cheekbones, so it makes my eyes look super dark. That and not sleeping.
Yeah, not sleeping. I try. The brain doesn't want to shut off, right? Sometimes I just can't sleep. Last night I couldn't sleep.
Well, it's also like I used to have to work like 18 hours a day because I got canceled on everything. Like, people do not know how hard it is to stay afloat and not be invisible, get your name out.
Did you
when
have
you're
your
not
banks
allowed on
canceled and stuff even?
anything. Well, I got my bank in Japan, so I avoided
Oh
that.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I
What
had,
years were you
I
canceled?
had,
You
I
were
mean,
like,
I was banned from Coinbase and like most of the crypto exchanges won't
wow.
let me on.
See, crypto's supposed to be so we can avoid that
Banned on
stuff.
PayPal, banned on Patreon, all that, banned
Yeah.
on any kind of payment
Are you still banned
processor.
on these places?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. What do you use? Or you maybe don't want to share so they don't ban
Asia.
you from it. So you have to use agents. That's crazy.
Here's how you get
So,
around it. You just learn another language, move to a different country, and get a different bank.
so people
But as
can't
far as
PayPal
online
you
stuff,
money. They can't Venmo you money. They
no,
can't.
can't use Venmo. Venmo's owned by PayPal.
Wow.
Can't use GoFundMe. Can't use Kickstarter. The one I'm allowed to use is called Give, Send, Go. It's the one that Kyle Rittenhouse used, some Christian organization. Give, Send, Go. And like, if you do a campaign, don't use GoFundMe, just because you're gonna get it all by people clicking on a link anyway. So
Yeah.
just use Give, Send, Go on general principle,
We
because
need to
they're not
support
canceling
people that are better people. Exactly. We need to support our own because that's part
Another
of the
one's
reason
called
why they've been able
entropy.
to take so much power is they always support their own and they always try to exile and push us out of society. But I think it's getting to the point at the moment they're not able to do that. They're having a harder time
Yeah,
canceling
where's the
us.
Goy billionaire? Right? Where's our George Soros?
Yeah, none of them
That
donate. You look at all the top donors, like people, I know people think about running for office, but like how do you, it's so hard to raise money when these people all donate, hundreds of millions, millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, these donors, the Miriam Eldersons, the George Soroses, but we don't have
the Bill
Noah
Ackman
Goyam
and
to do that. But we need to
that's the
start
thing. Like
we need to start helping our own.
the reason they win is they're uber rich, put their money in politics and media, and our side doesn't.
But look how they make the money. A lot of times it's like gambling or weird trades. Like what was the Zionist that during COVID he made in like a month made billions of dollars by betting against the stock market as he was telling it,
Yeah,
and then he was
it's
buying it up. What's the guy's name?
speculation, illegal stuff or degenerate stuff like porn, illegal,
Porn,
organ trafficking, kitty fiddling, all that,
kitty
or it's
porn,
an
or selling
ownership
kids.
class. Well, it's like they bought UFC and WWE. They didn't create those things.
No,
They just buy a pre-existing business that's already successful and collect. And it's like,
yeah,
we don't work, we own. All you have to do is find a business that's already successful, buy it, change nothing. You're now the owner, and now you're collecting all the revenue.
Yep.
And then, but then it's your teams forever, because then when you hire new managers, CEOs, and stuff, you make sure they're all of the correct ethnic religious category.
You only hire Jews. You know, they take over these companies like the Disneys and all
Racial
these.
nepotism. Yeah. It's
Yeah, no, the UFC.
Or
Shockingly,
ethnic
I haven't got
It's not
free
really
tickets the last
racist.
couple UFCs. Shockingly,
It's,
but let's get.
ethnic nepotism works because the counter to that normally is people notice it, and there's a lot of pushback. Hey, you're only hiring each other. Hey, you're being prejudiced. But if you're not allowed, it's always screaming in pain as they beat you. When you call out their ethnic nepotism and racism, you're racist.
Yep, you're
So
an
like if you
anti-Semite.
were calling out white supremacy, black supremacy, whatever, you could do that. But when it's Jewish supremacy, suddenly you're anti-Semitic because you won't go along with them and their schemes.
Yep, that's anti-Semitism right there. That's textbook
Yeah.
anti-Semitism. Now they're
It's
trying to
worse
pass
than a
these
woman parking a
anti-Semitic laws.
car.
And that's pretty bad. Well, the guy that got arrested for heckling Dave Portnoy, that's the example. If you're, if a black guy was heckling me or
It
whatever,
would never
you're
have been
not-
a story if a black
Nope.
guy threw quarters at you. So what?
Exactly. I would just laugh it off or kick him in his head. But Dave Portnoy, because his Jewish privilege, gets this guy arrested. That other kid, I interviewed him. He got him fired for that sign that said "fuck the Jews," and he goes on a rant like, "I'm going to make him, like, I'm going to destroy him and his family's life, or I'll give the charity of going to Auschwitz." Like, that's such a good thing. And who is he to fucking send someone to Auschwitz? Like, he has this ability to destroy the kid and his family. And the kid did get kicked out of college. So we got the kid
Yeah.
kicked out of college. Like, why does he have that ability? It just pisses me off. I think a lot of people are fed up.
Voltaire said, if you want to see who rules, don't look to the thrones, but to the names you dare not whisper, which Kevin Strom changed to learn who rules over you, just see who you're not allowed to criticize. And that is true. Like, that is the protected class. It is Jewish privilege. Whereas anyone, you could dog on white people all day.
Yep.
You could dog on Christians or atheists or whatever, but not Judaism.
Nope.
And definitely
they're,
not
they're
Jews.
the richest. They're the richest group in America too. And then when I realized that, lots of this white hate is actually coming from them. I always thought it was self-hating whites. Then one day I realized, that's not the case.
Whites.
Yeah. Hello, fellow white people.
It's like the bug on Twitter. Elon's like, we have a bug that's preventing people from showing up in other people's feeds. I said, does this bug celebrate Yom Kippur?
I would suspect, my feed is like 80% just Zionists, 2% of the population and 0.2% worldwide, and like 80% of my Twitter feed.
I've gotten so much worse because it's said, well, if you're gonna handcuff me and not put me in people's feeds anyway, then I can just say whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's got, you should follow my Twitter and then go to the part not for you, do the people I follow, and maybe you'll see it. I don't know.
That's what I need to go back to, I think, because I've been on the other feed, so they can go back to who I follow. Let's circle back to 9/11 because there's still a bunch of more I want to cover. You're talking about the girl that was killed or
Captain Smith.
suicided, but likely killed.
Right,
I had a couple
right.
more questions on urban movers too, because the guy who owned it, he
The
basically
jiggling
fled-
juice.
Yeah, so he fled the country right after, I believe, right before he talked to the FBI. Now I'm not
Dominic
sure.
Suter.
I've heard mixed
Well, he talked to him on the
things.
phone. Then he scattered. Yeah.
And were those? I've heard these trucks were spotted other places, like where the planes were hijacked, but I'm not for sure if that was. I couldn't confirm if that was true or not. Have you heard anything about
The
that?
mural truck thing is BS.
Not the mural thing, but I heard the other
There was- now,
urban
this is
mover
interesting.
trucks.
We don't know if it was Urban Moving Systems or which moving company it was, but we do know that somebody called the police and said that they saw Palestinian bomb makers in a van headed toward the Holland Tunnel. I don't know if they were waving a Palestinian flag around or what. Like, how could you look at someone and know they're Palestinian
right.
in New York, right? Like, there's a lot
Like
of,
you could just
middle
know they're
ground.
Palestinian, right? You
Right.
don't know.
Yeah, and like, what do you mean mixing bomb? What are they making, liquid bombs or something? Like, whatever. I seen them at the airport. Like, oh, really? They got out of the airport, one of the most surveilled places in the world, in a van, open up the back and start mixing a bomb. And then they go in toward the tunnel, huh? Well, the cops shut down all the tunnels and the bridges. The Lincoln Tunnel, the Holland Tunnel, the George Washington Bridge, and they caught that
Oh,
van.
so you were stuck in
in
New
the
York
bridge.
if you were in New York.
What happened was, if you listen to Pat Dawson, no relation, or Rick Sanchez, they reported, and I still have these clips, and I remember more. I can't find them all. I remember seeing it though, where they were talking about police finding a suspicious device in a van parked in the World Trade Center. Below the
Yeah,
World Trade
right
Center
there,
is the
right?
parking garage. So you could just put vans there like they did in 1993 and blow them up. Cops found a van with explosives in it. They took it out to the Church of Dades, which was like the makeshift headquarters for the bomb squad. They had another one in the Meadowlands. They took a sporting goods store and just transformed it into the bomb squad in New Jersey. But they and there was no going back and forth because they shut down all entrances to New York. So you couldn't get back into New York. You couldn't go to New Jersey. So they had two things. Anyway, it was reported live about the van bombs. And then you have somebody calling saying there's people mixing a bomb in a van. And by the way, the Palestinian. And I think this story, they had to pull an audible once those Israelis got pulled over in their van with traces of explosives. In another van, they start pulling over vans and it's not Palestinians. That the whole van and truck bomb story disappeared by September 12th. And it was just the
Crazy how
planes
this
all
pushed out of the media. And I believe there were some urban mover vans there the day before, like casing it out. But that's
There was
can't
Sivan Kursberg, who was the driver of Urban Moving Systems, who was caught celebrating at Doric Towers, had been there twice previously, and one was on September 10th and one on September 7th. He may have been there between those dates. This is
Yeah.
just what
that we
he
know
was
for
witness
sure
that
he
we
was.
know of, yeah. And he actually lied to a guy, said he was a construction worker. And somebody had drawn a stupid picture of the World Trade Center with like a penis going into it. It was in the elevator, like they'd scratched it on. Like, what are you doing? They just needed you to know, you know. And Sivan was with another man with dark hair, speaking a foreign language. Now, this must have been an not common foreign language like Spanish or something, because they would know. Even if you don't speak Spanish, you can
Yeah.
hear that and go,
But
okay,
Hebrew sounds
that was
very different.
probably Spanish or Portuguese, yeah, something like you can guess. So, but if it was Hebrew, they might not have heard that.
Sounds a
maybe.
little weird, yeah. So
Hamas. Remember all the
Yeah.
Hamas tunnels? I hate
Hamas.
them so much. They're like blowing up hospitals and going Hamas tunnel. There's no tunnel.
The Hamas is under the hospital. Yeah, they bombed every single hospital in Gaza. I think 36 of them. It's just disgusting. It's just hard
They
not to
bombed
get
the
fucking
ambulances.
pissed off.
There's no ambulances. They bombed the last
Yeah,
one.
do you remember the one where they bombed them all? They got caught killing like the whole, like, I forget how many it was, like 7 or 8. They killed
There's
them
a
all.
scene on film where
Yeah,
they go and
on film.
machine gun these people. They pull them
Yeah.
over. They're clearly ambulance workers, and
Yep.
they just one of them cell phone was on. They found his corpse in his phone and got the film of what the Israelis did. And afterward, they're like, "Oh, a few bad apples." But it's systematic, and they didn't get punished.
No,
And they-
nothing. You know the one? Did you listen to the tape of that little girl that called for help and then they came and just killed her out? That was like American citizen,
talked
a
about
dual
that.
citizen
Outrageous.
ordered that. That one, that's hard
Bullet
listening
holes.
to that.
Oh, she's 6 years old. Her dead sister's on her. Her family's been wiped out. And they just
It's hard to listen to,
gunned
man. If you have
just-
kids, it's like you might even not want to listen to this.
They
It's
shot
just
up to scare her. Like, we're gonna shoot all around the car first. You know, maximum fear.
such fucking
and then
evil
plug her.
people.
They're
355
demonic. They
bullets.
are demonic.
The guy's a dual citizen with America that ordered her to be fucking murdered when she was on the phone. It's like, yeah, just go smoke her. And she has her dead sister and parents on her. Just could imagine a 6-year-old child.
Finish it
There's literally a
off.
phone call of her calling in, just like freaking out. It's just makes you sick. You know, I don't even recommend listening to it.
Well, they took a 16-year-old boy and poured gasoline down his throat and lit him on fire from the inside out like a candle.
Why would
They
you do this
desecrate
shit?
graves. They steal people's organs. They rape. They rape in a vicious way with like hot pieces of metal and stuff, anal rape to prisoners over and over again. They've amputated people's legs so they're just stuck, like shitting on themselves, and they're plastic tied to a bed. The most disgusting torture. This is why they couldn't let hostages out.
Because they torture
They've
others
maimed
to
and
death,
tortured
folks.
and disfigured so many of them. They didn't want the world to see it. It wouldn't matter though. Even if the
Yeah.
world
No,
saw
we've
it,
seen it, and everyone's
the
just.
Bible. Eh.
It barely made the news. Like all the tortured bodies, people eyes gouged out, arms missing, and the news just kind of like blew over
Well,
it.
the
Like,
news is not owned by Palestinians.
I wonder who owns the media.
Everybody say, "Oh, like, how come Japan doesn't have all this guilt for World War II like the Germans?" And they're like, well, it's because Koreans don't own the media.
Good point. And if they did, the Japanese would be all like, "Oh, we were so bad." You don't get that in Japan at all. But look how fast they bounce back, and they're booming. And yeah, they did some bad
Yeah,
shit, but
Korea's
so did
bounced back
America.
too. It's that's a testament to them and their culture. To it, they got work ethic and all, but I would argue not having that class owning their media is how they could bounce back. Think of all the trillions with a T of dollars wasted on Middle East escapades for the Israeli state.
Yeah.
Think of what America would look like if all that money had stayed in the United States. Think what America would look like instead of putting sanctions on Iran and oil for food program on Iraq and all that we just bought the oil. How cheap gas and oil would be.
Yeah, we didn't even get oil down. It's like the Israel's got oil from it. It's like we can't even send our kids to public schools. There's potholes in the roads. Things are dirty. People are starving. They can't even afford their food right now because the government shut down. It's like
my island is falling into the ocean. A jetty broke, and instead of fixing the jetty, they're just letting it flood, and homes are just dropping into the water. And any asshole that's like, why would someone build their house on the beach? They didn't. The beach moved. It's like if there's a dam and then there's a hole in the dam, there's going to be a flood. Well, there were jetties. Now there isn't. So the beach moved to where the houses were. The houses were hundreds of yards away from the water. Okay,
Yeah.
A jetty broke from the remnants of Hurricane Aaron. We've been begging them. There's 3 jetties. 2 of them are already broke. We had 1 left. It was on its last leg. And we've been saying, repair, repair, repair. And then now, every week, a house falls in the water. And it's just going to get worse. And
Yeah.
Josh Stein, governor of North Carolina, he isn't doing anything.
Stein.
And Bobby Alton would not declare a state of emergency. But I don't even know how many other Americans know this is going on.
No, yeah.
All they see on TV is
Was
Sydney
that the
Sweeney or
it was
whatever.
on your Twitter is the only thing I saw that on your Twitter. It's like our entire country is just falling apart, and we're 38 trillion in debt, but we don't even consider stop sending money to Israel. And there's not really it's it's
or
hard to
Ukraine.
even overturn it at this point. It's just complete disaster. It's like regular people
They
need to
serve
start
it
running for office.
Zelensky and Netanyahu. That's where all the money's going.
Yeah,
They're
and it's
gonna lose that
trillions.
war in Ukraine. And Israel, listen, they're not going to... Israel will not exist 20 years from now. They've bitten off more than they can chew. They pissed off the world. All of their neighbors are mad at them because they've attacked them all. They do have enough hubris to attack Iran again, and that's going to be the end of them. And I've really... only time in my life where I hope a war happens.
when
I'm kinda
Iran was
torn
bombing
on
them, I
Is it
felt
like, yeah,
bad that I felt happy watching
do
them
it.
get bombed. It's like,
But it's only because I don't see any other way of fixing it.
no. But they're all gonna
Physically
come to
destroying
America.
Israel is the only way it'll stop.
They're
Our
going to all flood
politicians
to
will mark
America,
people.
manipulate our country in war is what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's the...
Maybe Japan can take them or Korea.
Like,
We're going to send them to Korea or Japan. Hey guys, I'm demonetized everywhere. So if you want to support me and the podcast, go to fightbackpodcast.com and you can buy some cool merch like the shirt I'm wearing now. I'm excited to announce the Fight Back podcast has partnered with Anobi Peptides. Peptides are the future of medicine. They get all their peptides here in America from real compounding pharmacy, not that Chinese stuff or Indian stuff. Be sure to use promo code FIGHTBACK. There's this awesome... I gotta send you if you haven't seen this. There's this news reporter in Japan. They're trying to figure out if the Jews are the Tingu, which is the ancient demons.
oh yeah, with the nose.
But in Japan, they just don't care about being racist. And they go to a synagogue and they're talking to the Jews, being like, "Oh, do you think the Tinga was the Jews?" Because it has like the thing on the crown
the
and
box on his head. Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
The Tengu.
Anyways, I want a few more very important things to hit on 9/11. Michael Chertoff.
You ever heard of the base monk? Have you heard that story?
No, what's that?
Had my kid in a stroller, and there's most Japan's not religious, but they have some. There's one called Tenrikyu, and Tenri's a section of Nara. And I heard this ding, where they like bang these wood blocks together, and it's just a little ding, and they do. And I go over because I heard a voice in English say, "Excuse me, sir." I'm like very, very American, not like excuse me. And it was like, oh, I was like, was that monk? And he had the full on Big Trouble in Little China hat and all that. Really cool. I go up to him and he says, I thought he's going to say something about the baby because usually if you have a baby, oh, is you da da da. He said, are you American? I said, yes. He goes, are you a teacher or military? I said, oh, no, neither. He goes, what do you do? I said, I'm a journalist. He goes, oh, are you Jewish? I said, no. He goes,
Definitely not.
Why did you ask me that? He goes, well, everybody knows that American media is run by Jews.
Great question he asked you, I
No,
guess.
everybody does not know that.
Over there they do.
He knew. They know.
No,
China says that openly, that like American media is run by Israel and they do everything for Israel. They know.
China's not wrong. I think
No, they got
Israel.
that part right.
Yeah, they got that right. Let's circle back real quick to something really important because the 9/11 is so crazy. People are like, okay, it had been such a big network and the cover up and stuff, Cover up I think Michael Chertoff's a very
9/11
important
commission.
person.
That's
And the commission, yeah.
last part
9/11
of the
commission.
films on that with all the conflicts of interest. It's just I get to like the fourth one and you really just like throw the phone or whatever. I'm like, okay. I'm like, no, we got more. It gets worse.
People have to watch this film because, like I said, I want to touch on a few more important points, but we're definitely not going to hit all of it. There's just too much stuff in there. I have a giant list of things written down that we're not going to get through. But yeah, the 9/11 Commission, I think Michael Chertoff, these are some very important things. Because I used to be like, oh, it couldn't be an inside job because there'd have been too many people and how would they have covered it up? But then when you start actually seeing that, well, Michael Chertoff wasn't part of the commission, I don't believe, but he was the guy who got the dance to Israelis out of jail. Wasn't his mom like heavily tied in with Mossad? He's a dual citizen with Israel. He helped write the Patriot Act, the fucking
With
Patriot
Joseph
Act,
Lieberman.
which took all of our fucking rights away. This was like pre-written before 9/11, and this motherfucker
Absolutely.
helped write that up. It was bullshit fucking thing. Take our rights away. He
And
was
they
also
passed it under the duress of an anthrax attack.
Anthrax.
And
Another
anthrax
thing
is
you
coming
covered in
from
the
our
film.
own labs. And that whole story, like, I don't even have the
Let's-
energy to re-explain it, but ultimately...
Let's spend 5
it's
minutes
been
on
again.
Anthrax because that is
Okay. What's up?
because there's so many angles I want to go. I'm trying to figure where to go, but I think the
Well,
Anthrax one's so important.
This
'cause
is
a lot of people don't know
why
that
it's
one.
the most important. When I start to try to red pill someone, I don't really start with 9/11. I start with the Iraq War because most people are like, yeah, they lied about WMDs. Like, that's the one.
That's
They go, okay, they knew and they lied. Well, what kind of WMD? It was supposedly, there had 3 different major lies. Chemical weapons that were under the palaces of Saddam, the only place they couldn't inspect. Wasn't true. William Sapphire made that lie. Sapphire.
was he.
Yeah. New York Times. Yeah.
Ran by the.
You had yellow cake uranium, that's oxidized uranium, for a reconstituted nuclear weapons program in Iraq, and that was supposedly coming out in Niger. Now that lie comes from Michael Ledeen.
Oh my god.
Then you have the Office of Special Plans from Doug Fife and Richard Pearl,
It gets hard to believe
bolstered by
after a
Paul
while.
Wolfowitz,
Jesus.
that were reiterating crap from the Weekly Standard and PNAC from William Crystal and Robert Kagan.
Oh my god.
And then these guys lie about anthrax, namely Fred Barnes and Gary Schmidt, saying
You gotta
that
be shitting me.
I'm not, man. They said Israeli security forces said they witnessed a transfer of anthrax between senior Iraqi officials and Mohammed Atta at this meeting in Prague in Czech Republic, except they said Czechoslovakia because they're dumb. There was no meeting in Prague. Iraq didn't have anthrax, and Mohammed Atta didn't have anthrax. The whole thing was made up. But James Woolsey reiterates this crap to the New York Observer, owned by Charles Kushner, and they start lying about anthrax. And Woolsey's only in his position because of Clinton put him there because he's an Epstein guy,
Got Epstein.
and got they twisted his arm to do it. Well, they twisted his willy, whatever.
I'm for sure they had.
Like I
some,
don't even
com-
like it.
who knows what
Just
they have on
assume
Bill.
bells. I'm tired of hitting it. Like
Yeah,
just
ding,
assume
ding,
bells
ding,
unless
ding.
they say no bell.
Which
Right?
people don't know means Jew, 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 Jew. Yeah, we're not. I'm like Alex Jones.
Primitive.
Jew, 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 Jew.
Well, it's like the reason.
Since we're not on
The
YouTube.
reason that ethnicity matters is this, because it's like, who cares if they're Jewish? I'm like, I don't.
Well,
but
but
when it gets, if you have 2% of the population, it's like 99% of the people lying about a particular thing. Just put it this way: like if you remove the religion and all that stuff, if they were all Chinese, right,
wouldn't care.
which is a very small population in the United States, big in the world, but not a lot of Chinese people in America. If all of these people lying about Iraq were from China, you were Chinese, you might think the state of China was involved. Well, if you
Yes.
have a bunch of Jewish supremacists writing lies about Iraq, who also write policy papers for a former prime minister of Israel, who then becomes prime minister again, Netanyahu, gee, maybe Israel's involved. Duh.
Yeah.
And they were. And so that Louis Leibowitz and Paul Wolfowitz and Richard Pearl and Doug Feith and David Wormser and all these
These were the
Israeli
neocons,
first
right? Which everyone calls the
Yeah,
neocons.
yeah, these neocons, and Fred Barnes and Gary Schmidt and Robert Kagan, William Crystal, and all these Jewish neocons that wrote lies about Iraq start with this anthrax hoax. And we did go to war in Iraq because that Libby/Tenet speech that Colin Powell read to the UN, Iraq was accused of violating UN Resolution 1441, stipulating they couldn't have weapons of mass destruction. So Colin Powell goes in and says they're violating this. They've got mobile weapons labs, and he holds up a little fake vial of anthrax saying, a little
So
bit
that's
of this.
what they used for the war.
Yeah. The legal justification for the Iraq war were lies about W&D, specifically anthrax, and the bullshit about Iraq passing anthrax to Al-Qaeda came from the Israelis.
Wow.
So we go, and then all the other bullshit about all the other lies comes from Jewish Americans that write policy papers for Israeli heads of state. Like, this was absolutely a foreign op. The thing is, how would somebody know where to mail the anthrax letters from unless they knew where the Al-Qaeda cells were in advance? And who was living next door to Al-Qaeda?
Some Israeli
DEA
spies.
group, what they call the art students. I
The art
hate
students,
using
yeah.
that term because there's some stupid fucking movie about the Gelatin B team, about an actual Austrian art
Yeah,
student.
is that all bullshit or what? That's what I was
It's
going to ask
all
you
crap. It's
about
like
that. Because
Richard
that
Gage
didn't
was
seem very strong. I tried to look
yeah.
down. That didn't seem very strong to me.
No, that's dumb. It was that is so dumb. And the problem is, now when you Google Israeli art students, it goes
Does
to
that pop up?
crap.
No, because I saw that coming up, and then I tried to look down the rabbit hole, and it didn't really seem like there was much there.
I
That's
named
what I was-
names.
that's
I
what I was-
went through and I said Ite Simone. I went through names. Okay.
Yeah.
I gave names. I said
So
where
you
they
actually
used to
got
work.
you actually went through the names. That's like you're.
I did actual
That's why it's so
work, yeah.
important to have guys like you to actually go read every name, go read all the documents.
Yeah, the
that's-
documents are on screen. A lot of people, they don't want to read the 9/11 Commission. They don't even know that there is a Senate investigation, the JS report, Joint Inquiry.
Where can I access
investigation
the
into
9/11
taxes
Commission?
11.
Where can I go find that?
I got
and
all
read
the
it?
documents on ancreport.com. That's your shortcut instead of going and finding them. But you can look up the Senate investigation into September 11th. You can look. You can buy the 9/11 Commission. It's a book. It's crap, but it's not all crap. Like they mess up when they write. The longer they write, the more
The more fucked up
clues
they
they
get.
accidentally put. So, and I have the FOIAs up on my website too, on the Dancing Israelis. We have the Shea Memorandum. We've got Operation Encore. There's lawsuits from the victims' families. There's a bunch of court filings on that. There's a ton of stuff from field offices, FBI reports. I don't expect regular people to sit there and go through
It's hard.
the other NARA, the National Archive, but look, you don't have to. I already did it. I put the documents on the screen in the film, and I'm gonna write a book sourced to 1,000 sources. Here you go. Here's where it is. But I don't know if it's gonna make a difference. Like, I'm hoping it is. I know not doing it's an automatic fail, so I did it. But I don't know what the chances are of this movie going viral and people really learning what happened on 9/11.
it's
because the
amazing, you know.
charlatans, like, they kookified that event to the point where respectable people don't want to talk about it because they don't want to be associated with the missile crowd.
Yeah, I think more people are. Tucker's talking about it a little bit. I mean,
But
things are
Tucker
definitely
promoted
changing.
a lot of bullshit. Like,
Yeah,
that's his.
I didn't watch what Tucker put out
Yesterday,
there.
he had some chemtrail guy on. Then he had some
I,
guardian angel guy on. Like, Tucker is a
yeah,
good
I would
person,
love to get
but
in contact with Tucker. If I ever do, I'll get you in contact
I'd
with him too.
love to
That's the
straighten him
guy
out on the.
I
I
haven't.
just
I've
talked to a
talked to
friend
him,
of
but I don't
mine.
have his phone number. What's that?
I just talked to a friend of mine who does know Tucker, and it's not Daryl Cooper, it's someone else.
Yeah.
That I won't say it is, but we were privately saying like he needs an intervention because he's just. This happens when people get red pilled too fast. This kind of happened to Candace Owens. Like,
Yeah,
they have very good intentions, but they're just
but you can
like.
get a little
Listen, and Candace, listen. When you have a large voice, and like you didn't even know Israel was bad till like in the middle of your adulthood, or whatever, and you start getting red pilled, like you have the most power. Like you got millions of people listening to you and stuff. So they are going to very actively try to feed you shit sandwiches, so that you bite on one and discredit yourself, like saying Macron's wife's a man. Like, stop it. You
Yeah.
have to get a better filter who's putting poison in your ear, because they are. They're trying to sabotage her. They're trying to sabotage Tucker.
I think they
And when I
both
clap
definitely
back
have
and be
the
like,
correct
these
intentions,
things
though.
are not true, they're like, oh, sour grapes, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, 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 no. I want them to succeed. I'll give away my shit to them for free. I don't want them to discredit themselves because we don't have very many people on our team with that level of reach. And if they shoot themselves in the foot because they go off in the fucking la la land, not knowing whether the earth is round or not, taking an agnostic stance on there. Like, dude, that is so dumb. Like, please, the earth is round. Don't do this. They're giving you, and they're blowing smoke up your ass and giving you attention for you to become another sensationalist charlatan like Alex Jones. Because then, yeah, you'll have an audience, but it won't matter because that's the wrong kind of people. Like, if everyone appeals to the lowest common denominator, we're not going to get anywhere. And that's a real problem with current society. Where it's at is sensationalism sells,
Yeah. I
and
do think
telling the
Candace
truth gets you
is a great
enemies.
speaker, though, and she has the right intention. And just sometimes she gets a little
Yeah.
off track. I would love. I don't know her that well, though, but if I get to know her well, a little better. I'll definitely try to put you two in touch because I really think she's well-meaning.
She's too prejudiced. Like, I'm an atheist, so I'm
Really?
evil in her mind. Like, that's how that
But
is.
you're like, even your haters don't say you do bad work. I've never heard anyone say you do bad research. I know you have some haters out there, but they all go like, "Oh yeah, Ryan does good work."
But hated for what? Saying that stupid things are stupid?
Yeah, I don't
Someone
know why
has
the
to.
people hate on you. I'm trying to figure out why you. I think you're just very like blunt, and you can be a little bit harsh, which doesn't bother me. Like doesn't conflict with my personality. If you can tell me something
Right,
and I don't
yeah.
get
I mean, how
offended, you
can
be
you
like, "Hey,
not
you
be
got that
blunt?
wrong." Like I'm trying to learn. I know I'm new. As my audience gets bigger, I'm like, okay, I got to be a little more careful to try to get stuff right. Before I was a fighter, just shit posting, but now I'm like,
Right.
oh, I'm actually doing a podcast now. My audience is growing. I got to be a little more careful. Originally, I was a fucking fighter on Twitter, just shit posting. I wasn't trying to get into politics. So it's
Yeah,
like
with
definitely got
growth
shit
comes
wrong,
responsibility.
but I'm trying to be a
Like, the
lot
more
more careful now and not, like turning down a lot of guests because look at their stuff and like see too many holes and stuff.
the larger you get, the more responsible you have to be, because the more people you reach, they're like, you better check what you're saying. And so people are getting sued right now for saying some kind of weird stuff. I don't think they should be sued, but like,
I know both of
I see
them,
this as a really big problem though, because if we continue to reward clowns for temporary escapism, if this societal rot is avoided instead of addressed, then our mental decay is going to become irreversible. Like, we're like propping up donkeys and clowns because they're like, haha, base, and they say this kind of sophomoric Nazi potty humor type of stuff. It just discredits our side, and it's like, yeah, like, if you want to go the Jonestown route, you'll get a big audience because you're appealing to the herd, and you can just tell them what they want to hear and make up crazy things and make conspiratainment, and then that's like on an individual level, getting in what I call idiot ping pong, or like arguing with donkeys. Or I get some ghetto people on here and argue and completely own them, or do the Ben Shapiro thing where you make fun of high school kids, like, oh, I own that person. Like
I own that
that
at
will
college
get
kid. Okay,
eyeballs,
yeah.
but it's trash. And like if we all do that, then don't complain about the pile of garbage. Like each person, like, well, I'm going to do that and let someone else do the real stuff, because
You know
you
what? It's
definitely will
crazy.
make more money
I
getting
bet your
inflamed
growth
over
has been hurt by being so factual thinking about it.
it.
Because you're the guy I go to when I want something very factual. You know, you might criticize it, like, oh, I'm gonna ask Ryan, you know, because I know you're gonna be truthful, harsh, you're gonna scrutinize it. You know, you're not gonna tell me what I want to hear. You're gonna tell me what's true.
Well, the truth is harsh. That's the thing. That's a lesson that people need to know. I mean, you could go all the way back to Plato, talking about that kind of thing. Like, people want to be lied to
Yeah,
because it's comforting. Because like a lot of things that are good for you seem bad in the beginning. You lift weights, you get
yeah,
sore.
it hurts.
You
Yeah,
read, yeah. It's like the things that improvement's not fun, but there's no other way. Like, you cannot keep going to escapism. You cannot constantly like feed your brain goy slop
yeah,
and then expect any kind of good result. It's
yeah.
just like, and I think the best way to deal with an attention whore is to quit giving them attention. But we have this like situation where sensationalism is monetized,
That's what
and
sells.
telling the
People
truth is
watch.
not only
That's what.
censored. Like, yeah, telling the truth is gonna get you enemies, because the truth stings.
Plus, I think if
Nobody
people
likes being
benefit,
wrong.
being wrong, and also people, if you jump and just kind of like pretend like you know what you're talking about and make up bullshit, that works too. But like, you're not being truthful. And so instead of sitting back and trying to like check out and see what's going on, those people just jump and start saying this is this and that. And they don't even fucking know. But guys like you know, we're
I
gonna
mean,
sit
it's
back and
beyond
try to
that.
figure out what's happening.
It's like Instagram and like all the filters and all that. Like, that's not you. That's not your real face. That's not like it's self-deception. They're not only lying to others, they're lying to themselves. And that will hollow a person out. I always say, like, when poison is made to taste like honey, the fool will fight to keep it. And that's what if you take like a phone away from a scroller, it's like taking drugs away from an addict.
Yeah.
They are addicted to this constant stream of virtual reality
Yep.
and sometimes drugs, because they're bored with who they are, because they're a nobody. And they're gonna just like run right back to it. If you give them the truth, they go, no, they're gonna go right back to their charlatan and curse anyone that tries to interrupt them, because nobody wants to handle truth. Truth is brutal, and idiots have a really hard time with it, because an idiot can pretend to know something because they can find some other idiot to echo back their own stupidity. So, the donkeys gather other donkeys. And when someone comes around that's not a donkey, all the donkeys are, that person, he said the thing I didn't want to hear. Well, was it true or not? And so this funny thing when people are like, well, his work is like solid. He seems to be
Yeah.
right. And I'm like,
But he's kind of
who
an
cares
asshole.
about the delivery? The delivery, like, if the truth hurts you, if you're hurt by someone telling you the truth did not do that to you. Your inability to accept it did that to you. You did that to you.
Yeah, no, people.
I'm using the royal you, not you, Jake. But
No, I
I'm
know,
saying,
I know, but no, I agree. What I'm saying, no, people don't want truth, and like, I guess we get along because I guess I like friends that are honest to me, and can be nice, but can also tell me when I'm wrong. I prefer friends like that.
Dan Bilzerian's like that. He's blunt.
He's very, very like that. Dan is the most blunt person I've ever met, probably.
It's refreshing to me. I'm like, wow, you're.
Oh, it's great. But
Yeah,
it can be
it's
like
like,
brutal too. Like I see Dan call me after an interview. I'm like, oh fuck, is he gonna like, what's he gonna have to say? But then he'll be really positive if I did good. So you need to have an honest friend like that,
you
because if he
need
just
it.
shits on you, then it's like you don't want to hear that either. But if he says something really positive, but if he does something bad, he tells me, oh, I think that was terrible. It's like, okay, then I can trust this guy.
Well, praise from honest people is worth 40 times more.
I know Dan's always telling me the truth. So if he says something positive, that's great. If he has something negative to say, I should listen too. Because it's like, well, why does he think I did something bad? I should hear him out. And again, we're not always going to agree, but I know he's going to always give me his honest opinion, and that's rare.
Well, it's not from hate or anything. It's just that's what he thinks. So
Well, it's to help
for
you.
me, these issues, like,
It's
I
to
don't
help.
mind if it's something I don't really know about. I don't have a strong opinion about it. But if you're gonna come at me about September 11th, or nigga, please, it's like, dude,
Please.
don't.
I think you
You're
know
not.
that better than
You're
anyone.
not on my level. I can say that. It's not arrogant. It's just true. You didn't do this. I did that. Like, don't argue. Ask me about it. Don't argue about it. I wouldn't go to some engineer and start arguing with him about engineering stuff. I would just ask questions.
That is
But
such a good
everybody
point.
thinks they're some like geopolitical analyst. It's like you'll know this. People who can't fight think they can.
Right? That's what's so
Right.
great about fighting. Like, hey, come get on the match with me. That'll
Yeah,
give
so you can
people
figure
a
that out
wake-up call
easily.
like that. That's what's so great about fighting. Like these guys coming in, they're like the tough guy at their gym, thinking they're gonna do okay with me. And it's like, all right, let's get in the cage. It gives them a reality
Yeah.
check real quick. That's why
Like
the
I
sport's
would
so
just
great.
do, oh, you're gonna do that? You're gonna lay on the ground? I'm like, no, I'm gonna choke you from
I'm gonna
standing.
choke you the
It
fuck
doesn't-
out. That's probably why there's
Yeah.
so many cool people in fighting though, because there's no reality check like getting in there in the cage with someone, or even on the mats just jujitsu.
Yeah, I think a lot of jujitsu is one of the arts that you can practice that's not all or nothing.
Yep.
You can just let go of the choke, you can just let go of the hold.
Mm-hmm.
But it is inevitable that you're going to get humbled over and over again as you practice and get better. And
Yeah,
that
over
that
and over
sharpens you
again.
mentally. Yeah.
No,
Right.
yeah, you have to learn to take a beating and get back up. And like, I feel bad for some of these guys. Maybe they're the best guy at their local gym, and then they show up to world class gym, and then they got to train like me, Gordon Ryan, Gary Tonin, all on the same day, and I see guys just leaving with their heads down, just like humbled. But it's like it's that harsh reality check. But you don't get that in like media and these type of places. There's no way to like just get destroyed and know you were destroyed. They can keep telling themselves lies.
I did. We had the guy who got fourth place in judo in the Olympics. His name is Ozawa. We were doing jujitsu, but judo was right after us, and I used to do judo, and it was him and a sumo wrestler. Do you know these people who were like 500 pounds?
Yeah, the sumo dudes.
And I was just curious, man. I've never played. I don't hardly ever met a 500-pound person ever.
That's huge.
It's so big. And we
Yeah,
had
people
this
don't
huge
understand how big that is, I don't think. And these guys
knot,
can
and
move
like
these sumo
like a
guys.
lot of technique will overcome to a point.
500-pound Japanese guy charging me does not sound fun.
Who knows sumo too, not just a big dude.
Yeah.
He knows what's going on. He's humbling. But yeah, I had the judoka. Nobody wanted to play, and I was like, "Oh, fine, I'll get thrown on the floor." So I was like, it's not like I don't know judo, but I'm not an Olympian or anything. And so, yeah, I got Akayama pretty good.
Tossed by a
Beat
giant
the foreigner,
Japanese.
yeah. It was like, yeah, whatever. But
Yeah.
I was an honor. I was like, I want to be thrown by an Olympic judoka. Like, that's,
Just to see
I
the
know people are like,
throw.
why would you want to do that? I'm like, well, in my head, it seemed
I've been
like
thrown by an Olympic judo guy in front of
yeah,
millions of people.
without getting paid.
Yeah, okay, I was getting paid for it at least.
Yeah, that was something. But I tell people, like, if you have all these delusions where, like, go to some gym, find a black belt your size, and get that out of your head. The problem with the politics, though, is there's no clear, like, physical test to be like, no, man, you're an idiot. Like, the people who think they can fight and can't, you can figure that out fast.
Figured out
But the
real
people
quick.
who are like, oh, you know what I think? Oh, I think, and I'm like, that's not even your. The building fell at its own footprint at free fall speed. Look at the squibs. I'm like, okay, this is Alex Jones. This isn't you. It did not go at free fall speed. It does not go in its own footprint. None of the things you said are true. Squibs happen when there's a fire or demolition. Like, you do not know what the fuck you're talking about. Go away. And it's just a constant headache. And what's funny is they can watch me talk for like 2 hours, but all this background of state sponsorship of Al Qaeda, and they're not listening, just waiting for their turn to talk so they can go nanothermite or whatever. And it's just like, why? I mean, you're a donkey. Like, you didn't hear anything I said. You're just waiting for this thing, your little pet thing to talk about. Well, Building 7 wasn't hit by a plane. Like, no, but it was hit by another building. As was Building 6 and Building 5.
So you don't
They
think
all-
Building 7 was you think it just collapsed from the nearby underneath it going down, or what's your theory on that?
Well, no, Building 1 fell on Building 7 and smashed the whole middle of it.
Oh shit.
What they do is they show. This is all anyone's going to talk about in this interview now. Well, what they do is they show the north side of the building in the morning and say pockets of fire. They
Yeah.
do not show the south side of the building at 5 in the afternoon with every floor on fire, the midsection taken out, and the southwest corner missing.
So there was
Every
big
the
fires for a
firemen,
long
you
time
can
before
look it
that.
up. The New York Fire Department were radioing each other saying that building's next, that building's done, gone.
Really?
It was not a mystery at all. And they're like, Lucky Larry, because that's their thing. Larry Silverstein, he said, pull it. And that's the industry term. Like, this is Alex Jones again.
Mm-hmm.
Pull it. Oh, God, this is like cathartic to say. He's referring to the firemen. If you listen, if you don't clip the end and beginning off of what he said, and fuck Larry Silverstein. I mean, he's
Yeah,
a
he's
friend
a
of
piece
that
of
guy.
shit.
He's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
But
he was definitely in on it.
he
But
did
that,
not
yeah.
admit on TV that he demolished the building. And when you say stuff
Both
like
can be
that,
true. Larry Silverstein can be in on it, and he could also not have said that. You know, if you have a hard time
right?
understanding
Like
that
he
both
could
of
be
these
in on
things,
it for a
they don't
different thing
understand
that
both
I can
these things can be
explain.
true.
Right. But this thing, like, you ruin when you have a good argument. Don't make up. If you have an A+, don't add C, D, and F to it, because they're just going to seize on the one dumb thing you said and dismiss the rest. Baby out with the
So you don't
bathwater.
believe there was any explosives in any of the buildings? Maybe the car bomb.
Well, there
at
were
the bottom?
there were reported truck bombs,
So
and
you think
so
it's
that
more
is an
truck bombs?
explosive. They did not put bombs on every floor.
You don't think it was?
That is
Yeah,
not
I don't have
even
a strong opinion on this
possible.
one. That's why I'm
Yeah,
asking
you
your opinion.
cannot in an active building walk around slapping C4 on the wall. Like people,
Yeah,
what's that?
obviously
You know?
not. It would have to been
So,
very.
and you would not need to sabotage the fire prevention systems if you knew there were bombs. The fire prevention system wouldn't matter, and it wasn't miniature nukes. There's not a nuke small enough in
No.
the world to only blow up 2 buildings, and it blows them up from the top down.
I didn't even
like
know that was one of the theory. It did
that
seem
is
like
one of
it
the
fell
things.
like
That's a Jim
the speed
Fetzer
it fell
thing.
out looked just like a controlled demolition, but like I'm no
Yeah,
expert
because
on
you're
this stuff.
looking, you only see the last part of the fall, which is the exterior walls. The rest of it's already fallen. And that's exactly what it looks like. If you look at the Plasco building, it's burning, and then falls down. Like that's what they do. But yeah, building 7 had been hit by building 1. And Larry, what he actually said is, and he's talking to the chief of the fire department. That's important to know who he's talking to.
Yeah.
And he said there had already been so much loss of life already, referring to the 324 firemen that died in World Trade Center 1 and 2, that he said there had already been so much loss of life already that we, meaning me and the chief of the fire department, decided the safest thing to do would be to pull. So we made a decision to pull
the fire.
the men out of the building so they
firemen,
wouldn't
okay.
die like they did in World Trade Center 1 and 2.
Interesting. No, so
And
I
then we
didn't-
watched the building collapse. He pulled his men out of the building because they'd already so many firemen died in the other
Died
buildings that
in
they
the
did not
first
want to
two.
risk that building falling on their heads. That's the
Interesting.
only thing Larry ever did right in his life.
Yeah, Larry's a piece
and
of
that's
shit, by
the
the
only
way.
thing they condemn him for. It's the irony.
Most people probably know he has watched this interview, but he's the guy who leased the building out. Correct? What did he
Yeah.
pay for it? Like 30.
Now, this is another myth. They say Lucky Larry claimed double insurance. Yeah, they also told him to fuck off.
Yeah,
Like he
did
doesn't
make a
win
lot of fucking money off it,
till
though.
2007. He wanted to get 3.5 billion for each building because
Yeah.
he said it was 2 separate attacks.
Yeah.
He ended up getting like 4.2 or something, and that
Which
was
is a lot of
because of
fucking
the
money.
cost
Billion.
of the new Freedom Tower. But they told him no. He wasn't lucky. He didn't get an extra payout
Well,
for the extra
he was
building.
still lucky having leased the building out and getting paid out pretty quick. I think.
Well,
what
they're
did
like,
lease
why
it
does
out,
he
like, a
have
couple months
terrorism
before?
insurance? Well, because the World Trade Center was attacked by terrorists in 1993.
Yeah.
Why would you not get terrorism insurance?
I
They're
would say
giving
he's
out
lucky
bad
just,
arguments.
just for leasing the building out, though, and getting $4 billion. That's a pretty lucky buy, 'cause I don't think anyone wanted that building. I don't think that was like a building that anyone wanted, because it was full of asbestos, and him swooping in.
Asbestos, yeah.
Yeah, him swooping in and buying it. I'm not sure what he paid. I'm thinking maybe around 30 million or something for the lease.
What's
I
odd is
might be
he's
wrong with
still
that.
alive. He was old back then. He already looked like one of those goblins from Harry Potter.
He's such a
And
nasty looking demon.
He's so physiognomy is real. He's so gnarly, just like a decrepit vampire or something. Dude is irredeemable piece of crap.
Oh, just
I just wish
disgusting.
people would stop using the pull it argument, because he is definitely talking about pulling the.
Yeah, I've heard that.
firemen out
I've
of
heard
the
that
building.
before, so I'll look into that. No,
It is not
well,
an
like what you're
industry term
saying. It
for
can be true that
demolition.
he's an evil piece of shit, but what you're saying could also be true. People need to
It
understand
doesn't
that.
even mean there wasn't demolition. It just means You cannot hinge it on that because he is definitely talking about pulling the men out of the building.
Oh, he was lucky by not going to work that day too. So he did
never
have
went
some
to
luck
work. He's a
involved.
boss. Like they never work.
I think he did show up at work most days though, and he skipped work, or he showed up at the office most days. I saw an interview of him talking about
He
that.
sometimes go in the morning. They don't, but
Yeah,
he wasn't going. And there was an Israeli instant messaging service called Odago that was warning people
that's
not
an
to go to the
interesting
World
one.
Trade Center. That is true.
That one's very interesting. Yeah, and that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Zim Shipping, they were big Israeli, weren't they government contracts or something? They
50%
can't,
owned by the Israeli state.
so that would be a powerful organization that they would want out of there, and they pulled their
They moved to Norfolk, Virginia weeks before September 11th. What a lucky coincidence.
yeah, canceled their
Them
lease and
shipping,
everything.
by the way, is who helped move highly enriched uranium to Israel / Palestine. If you've seen my Numek film.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask is during the New Mick when they stole they basically stole the uranium, right, for the bombs
They
from
used the Red
America.
Hook piers that were Anastasia and Lansky ran, and they would put them in innocuous stuff like boilers and oven pipes and shit, and they shipped
This
it
was
to
Meyer
Israel. and
Lansky helped run that, or interesting because they
Yeah.
controlled
Well, they ran the docks.
controlled the shipping. Yeah, they ran the mafia around the docks, which Meyer Lansky, ding
It's
ding,
that green map
Jewish.
back there.
Yeah, he was
Oh
a
yeah,
Jewish
Meyer
guy.
Lansky, Anastasia.
He was the the head mafia boss was Jewish, not Italian, and he ran the docks, which that's how they got weapons, I think, too, right? During to help.
It's
to do the
Italian for a
terrorist
little
attacks.
bit. If you go back to Lucky Luciano, but
Yeah.
it was not. It's both, but that operation
No, there's definitely
was
big Italian
absolutely
mobsters,
Lansky.
but yeah, there definitely were.
Oh, when
big-
everyone's like, "Oh, it's just Hollywood," I'm like, "No, they were." There's Italian mob for real.
Oh yeah, no, I've definitely known big Italian mobsters. It's 100%. I mean, look at the UFC. The people that originally bought the UFC, they were Italian. Family, you could just tell
Fertitta's
that.
got that property,
Yeah, now
and they,
the mob is
they own the Flamingo Hotel, which was from Hank Greenspun and Mo Dallas from Bugsy Siegel, like all of Mo,
Yep.
Bugsy.
No, the
Greenspun.
UFC. Like, I actually like the Fertitta brothers, but
Yeah, I've heard
it's
nothing
very
but good
obvious
about
that
them.
they
And
come from a family that's you could just tell. But they actually treat
I'm
them good.
actually fine with Gambino and all the GFS, all of it. Like, I have no problems with any organized crime in the United States because I want to visit.
Don't kill me. I actually did get along good with the Fertitta brothers, but it was very obvious that this was like an
People
old
said
family.
Vegas was better under the mob than the government. I believe it.
Probably, yeah. Like kind of like the guy who took the flamingo. What'd you see? Said his name a minute ago. The guy with the flamingo. I think he was skimming money and got shot. Bugsy Siegel.
Babyface, yeah.
They shot him up. I'm sure Meyer Lansky must have approved the hit, but it just shows you, oh, you're stealing from us? No, I don't think so.
His best friend, man. He shot his best friend. 'cause he
That's
was
crazy. But I guess he was stealing from too. I don't know. We don't know the ins and outs of it. It just shows that people will shoot their best friend.
Donated money to Ergun. So did Mickey Cohen. And
Yeah.
Dallas was involved in that. Like, you
Yeah.
guys should watch. I have another film called Trump's Zionist Ball and Chain. It's
I haven't
free.
seen that one.
It gets all into that stuff on the mob. Is interesting as hell, I think.
Are all your films on your website?
Yeah, ANC report. It gets DOS attacked all the time is the problem, but
That's
the
crazy.
films, you just click through and go to a Rumble or something. So but Rumble's
Cool.
really bad with searchability, so I have to have them listed on the film.
Just it's really important. Some things you're saying. We're not gonna get in depth with this real quick, but like the Meyer Lansky, the mob ties, these guys were funding the early Israel, likely involved with the JFK stuff. You came on and explained the RFK on my show, assassination, which is just insane. But there's
Donna
another interview for
Alessia
that.
and Frank Diamanis, yeah.
That was the first one we did. That was crazy.
Yeah, just come on like, here's who killed Kennedy. Hi.
Yeah, no, that was such a good interview. People were like, "Who was that guy?" It's one of people asking. So the first time on, and it was like, "Who was that guy? Like, why have we never seen him? That was crazy."
That's why I
I
get
didn't-
censored.
You just broke it down like too good. Where you watch that and it's like,
We
okay,
got a lot of that on our calendar. Cheap plug.
anti-neocons.
We got a calendar. I do all these like based Asian chicks to piss off the white nationalists.
The white nationalist
They
worst
run
enemy.
November.
There's like a meme where white nationalist, like a hot little Asian chick trying to get his attention.
Oh yeah,
It's just
there's
like,
a song.
No.
Sven made a song called "The Asian Girl Over the Hardest Part." Like, wait, I have to give that up? Nah. But it's just like it's a serious thing where it has all these like this day in history type of stuff. The frogs are when something good happened.
And then a hot
So
Asian
it's
girl
like-
on top,
Yeah, and then A and C chicks or whatever. But
tempting the white nationalists.
yeah, just be like, no, you can't. That's race mixing, right? Oh, I love this one. The bittersweet pain among men is having knowledge with no power.
Yeah.
And that was said by the great philosopher Lex Luthor from Superman.
Really, that's such a good quote.
It is, and it's from Lex Luthor. But it's bittersweet to have knowledge and not reach is painful because, and I personally know this. I'm like, well, I could explain Kennedy, I could explain Epstein, I could explain 9/11, I could explain a lot of the things. They're like, what is this? What is? And they're everyone talking about. But I'm not on Tucker. I'm not on Rogan. I'm not on. I'm like, and I'm never gonna be, and I know this. And that's why I make these movies and I'm like, it'll be there. The answer's there. I mean, I literally made a map of the Epstein clients. I have the client list right here in my hand. They're like, where's the list?
Yeah.
Here's the list. What do you want me to do with it? Like, where am I supposed to go with this? Who am I supposed to give this to? Because our media is not going to touch it.
No,
And
they're
our
not gonna
alt
touch it.
media is not going to touch
Pam
it. And that's
Bondi's
weird.
not
I'm like, why
Pam
doesn't the
Bondi's
alt-
not going to release it. It sucks if you
No,
have the
people-
list, but people won't like believe it unless they see it from like, you know.
I can back it up. I'm like, why is this person on this? Let me tell you how we know. They're not interested in this. They're interested in their brand or whatever. And it's like they don't want an answer. My brother deals with this with the lost colony. He found a lost colony. They went to Croatoan Island. They found the bones. Like, it's not a mystery. They don't care.
Where was Lost Colony at that he found?
In North Carolina, is on Hatteras Island now. It used to be called Croatoan.
What
And-
years does he think it was there?
It was between 1585 to 1587.
So it wasn't supposed to be
And
there.
then
So
they were
they
still
don't want to hear
there.
it.
Well, it's like Stonehenge. We know how Stonehenge was made. We know how the pyramids were made. But there's a gazillion little entertainment things. Like, it's a mystery. There is no way people could move big stones, even though they did all over the world. We have no idea how this was happened, and they lined it up with the stars and everything, cut through granite. I'm like, actually, we have a very good idea how that happened, but they don't want the answer. They like having a mystery. It's fun.
Well, I haven't been to the pyramids, but like I've been to Peru, Cusco. Some of those like brick walls that were built, it doesn't seem to
It's
really
impressive.
make sense by the Incas though, because the Incas were building like crap work when the Spanish got there. And these things, I don't know if you've seen these walls. I can't say the name of them. It's just these giant, they're like thousands of pound stones. They're just perfectly placed together.
Well, the
So there's
Olmec
8-9
might have built
angles.
some of those.
There's no like mortar between there. It's just by far the best. Like the Spanish couldn't make anything like it at the time. Like I've never seen rock work like that anywhere
They
in the
built
world.
that, then castles in Japan, same way, with no mortar.
Japan
no
has it
rocks,
similar.
no
It's not
stuff.
quite as impressive. Peru, Japan has a few places where has that work done similar. You're correct.
But it's just to do it at all. Like, to move the stones means you know how.
Mm-hmm.
The Olmec built a lot of the things that the Inca built on top of. The Olmec are the ones that vulcanized.
Yeah, so I
rubber
do
and
think
did
there was
lot.
I do think there was a culture there before, like the Incas and stuff. I do think there's some lost cultures that did some of this stuff, but the pyramids haven't really looked into that much. The Peruvian stuff I've looked into a little more.
The thing is, when they start talking about ancient aliens or levitation, all that.
Oh yeah,
it's
no,
like,
that
dude,
stuff. I'm not.
There's a
buying.
guy, his name, I love it because his name is kind of like his job. His name is Wally Wallington, and he was a construction worker. He's got walls in his name twice. Wally Wallington. He built a Stonehenge, like a little bit smaller, by himself in his yard.
Really?
Using nothing but like gravity stones and wood and stuff. And Channel
So he
4
showed
did
how
this.
they could have done it.
Yeah, he's like, here's what you do. Here's how you can lift this up. Here's how you can roll this. And did it like, I'm going to do it with 2 fingers. Watch. And it's like 2,000-pound rock just going dun, 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 across these like sleds he made. You take the big stone, you wedge wood under it, dig out on this side and that side. Then you put a weight on this side so it just goes like this a little. And then you put another block of wood. Then you put the weight on the other side so it goes like that. Then you put another block of wood. Then you just keep seesawing it, and it gets higher and higher. And now you got to make your wood thicker, but you can all the way up to it until you have a massive weight.
Still
as big as you
shows a
want. Just
high
make it
level
happen.
intelligence and architecture, and,
Creativity, yeah.
like creativity. Like I'm not sure what year Stonehenge was built, but way back the people were being very creative and whatnot. So I still think it's very impressive, regardless.
It's super impressive, but it's to say like it's impossible, or they had to have
Yeah.
ancient alien tech or something. I'm like,
No, I don't believe
are-
that.
You're like, oh, I don't think the Inca could have made this. It must have been aliens. I'm like, no, it was Native
Oh no,
Americans.
yeah,
Like,
I'm
how
not
did
jumping
you
to it was
always get
aliens,
Inca?
but I don't think the Inca built it exactly. Which I'm actually interested in
Well,
some of this old
that
history,
particular
but
case,
I don't want to
there
bring on
was a
guests that are quacks.
yeah, there. That's different because the Olmec had whole cities that were uncovered under the jungle
Like when
later,
was that? Like wait, a couple thousand years before or hundreds? Because there's also stuff in Bolivia that's
centuries.
just crazy of a lost civilization that's built.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, viruses can wipe a place out. You look at something like the Black Plague,
Hmm.
took out about a third of Europeans.
Wow.
33, that's a lot. And things like that, you get the wrong bug, the wrong place, it can wipe you. I mean, look at or Pompeii, like a volcano just took a city out. Like
Hmm.
that the disaster can happen like that. Like you could have free range redheads, you could have
Redheads, I don't know.
disease, natural disaster. Yeah, you could let women drive. Like it'll just tear down your society.
That's the big one right there. Yeah. So, but you look, but yeah, I have, if you look at Bolivia, Peru, some of these areas, it does seem like there was a pretty advanced society. Now, it doesn't mean they're aliens by any means, but there was advanced society, it seems like,
Well, it's
before.
advanced, but it's
Yeah.
not like it's still stone and copper,
Yeah.
Bronze Age stuff. Like there are ways if you're clever and patient and have the labor to move these things around. It's still ingenious.
No, it's
It's actually
ingenious. So
more impressive.
it's clearly an
But they're
extremely
like they didn't
impressive
invent the
society.
train and then
Exactly.
forget. Yeah.
No, I'm really curious in that history, but I don't want to bring on quacks like you said, especially because I'm talking about stuff like Israel. So, okay, I can't go talk to people that are completely off on other shit. It puts me in kind of a tricky position.
Well, I mean, you can talk to whoever you want, but it's
No, that's
like
true,
this.
but it's
The thing is, there's too much attention given to these charlatans, and actual history. Like I think a history of architecture, it would be a fascinating show if they did like a real one of
mhm.
how did they move it? Well, they did like this using water and using
Yeah,
that. Like that is interesting. Like the truth is interesting. Why do
yeah.
they have to make up this crap about the Nephilim or whatever? Like, dude, man, that you don't even know what that is either.
It's
Like
what sells. People want to
the
go what
Nephilim
sells.
are not the hybrids between angels and human women that made giants from Genesis. It is an old Sumerian story. I don't feel like explaining it for the millionth time, but like I see this like modern shit from YouTube videos, and I know they've never studied ancient history.
Hmm.
I know they don't know, other than the Old Testament, they don't know any ancient books. And or just they know nothing. They know nothing about those cultures and but they're talking about it with such a sense of authority and confidence. And that's what bothers me. I don't
No,
care if
you're
someone's
right.
dumb.
I like it. People questioning. I'm
I don't
okay
like it
with,
when
but
someone's dumb thinks they're smart.
yeah, that's a problem. Is sometimes these things are not quite sure, and they just act like it's exactly this. And to me, I'm like, okay, so clearly they had some very advanced techniques in some of these places, but I would like people to try to dissect and figure out how they did it, not just be like it was these monsters came and built it with levitation.
Yeah.
And if they did
Yeah.
levitation, then explain like how we had that. Though there could be lost technology, but I highly doubt it was like levitation or something.
Yeah, there are technologies that were made and then reinvented,
Yeah,
aqueducts, different things that, but not like, not that much of a gap where, oh, we had a satellite and then we forgot how. Like,
yeah,
wasn't nothing.
that I'm very, 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 very doubtful. I don't know for sure anything, but like there's the big one right now. People saying these cities were recently intentionally burnt down and stuff. And hey, I'm willing to listen to anything, but it seems very unlikely.
The
So
Tartar
yeah, that one
conspiracy
just
is
I haven't
so
looked deep
fun.
into it, but the little bit I've seen seems a little bit. Like I said, it'd be
It's
interesting to talk to
wrong,
you guys, but it
but
just seems a
it
little too
really
crazy.
it is so fascinating in its complexity, and you can get away with it because you know that most people don't know anything about that area.
But it's so
You just
popular,
don't
the
like.
Sataria stuff right now. It's so popular, which is kind of
I know
crazy, and it's
it's
interesting,
because
but
of
it just
TV
seems
show.
like it's a little bit crazy. Like there are interesting things, like the state fairs. They used to build these amazing structures really quick, but I think we were just competent and motivated, and we came through and built these awesome structures. That's I think the most likely scenario there.
Hmm.
'Cause
Yeah, it's the Tower of Babel thing. Like when people get together and put their mind to it, we make stuff to the heavens. Like we can make some really amazing things. Um, the problem is government. Like a lot of how long have I been working on Interstate 64 in Virginia my whole life, and I
yeah,
see they put a skyscraper 70 stories up right next to my house in Korea in 1 year.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
that would
I
never get
think we
done in the
used to
United
just be
States.
more confident. Here's a perfect example. I lived in San Francisco for like 20 years. They spent like 7 years adding another lane down this like road near my house. They built the Golden Gate Bridge in I think 7 years or less. Like let's
Yeah.
look at that. That's like a, maybe less. I think they built that, then adding a little lane during a 4 mile stretch in San Francisco took longer than building the fucking Golden Gate Bridge.
Didn't
People
they
used
spend
to
like
just be
$50
on top
million
of it.
on a light rail, and all it is like a concrete? They haven't even
I
put
don't think they
rails.
really got anything done. Yeah, I
I think
think
it was
it's kind
Los
of like
Angeles did
it's
that
just
one,
so
but
much bureaucracy and incompetence now.
right. That's what it is. Like, how come we haven't done this? And like, you can't even build a light rail. You're not going back to the moon or whatever. There's so much bloat in government
So you can
where
see why
like we
people have these
can't
questions
even
though, because they see the incompetence now. They see these
yeah, they should
beautiful
have these
buildings back
questions.
then.
You can't even get planes to take off and land at the right time.
Yeah,
And it's not just DEI. It's like we have our first generation getting through school right now totally cheating with ChatGPT. So they really don't know anything other than how to produce answers through AI. They don't remember anything. They don't know anything. And I think Ted Kaczynski was right. Like, we are headed toward a technocratic dystopian nightmare. This is one of the last times you're going to have any semblance of free speech to be able to do anything or change anything. Because once they get their surveillance grid locked down and they palantir you all, we will have no ability to fight back.
yeah. There'll be a kill list, and they'll take us out early. I mean, they
Oh
use
no,
a
you'll
kill
kill
list.
yourself. Yeah,
Yeah,
they'll
I'll light
say
myself on fire and like,
in a car. Yeah, the day before trial,
yeah, right.
right?
The day before I'm gonna do something important. The day before, yeah, exactly. A lot of killing yourselves or ODs or all this bullshit they make up with.
It's pretty bad when your name, like, oh, they got Clinton. Her name, and his name too, is now a verb for framing a suicide.
Got Clinton. Yeah, I
Now they
haven't.
might say you got Epstein because that's the most famous framed suicide. But
Yeah.
it was, you got Clinton for many, many years. Oh, Vince Foster, for example, like, oh, you got Clinton.
Yeah, there's the Clinton list. I haven't gone down that, so I don't know if it's quackery or like truth. Hold on real quick. I need to plug in my fucking thing's fucking up.
A lot of the Clinton suiciding is actually true. The one that's kind of like,
Hello, I had to fuck with the headphones.
I was just saying, the one Clinton murder that people believe that it doesn't have the best evidence, but it's kind of like, oh, come on, it's Seth Rich. You know they did it. But Vince Foster, for sure. There's a lot of cases on the Clintons. They're
Hold on,
never
for
going to
some
be held
reason,
accountable.
hold on real quick. For some reason, my headphones aren't. They're barely picking up. Let me fucking real quick.
Huh.
Hello.
I just heard your juice hit the floor.
Oh yeah, I can hear. For some reason, the volume's a little low, but whatever. I don't know what's. I can still
All
hear
those
you. So
juice
fuck
boxes.
it.
I'll just talk louder. All those
Yeah,
juice boxes.
I cannot control the volume of my voice.
Yeah. I suddenly became Chinese.
Yeah.
I don't
Where
know
were
what
we? We
their
were talking about
problem
Ted
with volume
Kaczynski,
is.
the Unabomber, the.
I have letters from him.
That's
I
very
have a
interesting.
book.
I read the Zelensky manifesto. I'm not saying he's certainly not a good person, but it was very
Nah, he was
interesting.
definitely messed up.
But it's
But
worth, yeah, it's worth reading his manifesto because it's interesting. And they did some a little bit government experiments with him early on too. Not MK
MK
Ultra, but
Ultra.
like,
No, they did MK Ultra him.
was it
They
MK
did
Ultra?
early mind control experiments, weird stuff, the Sidney Godfrey type of thing. And he was a child prodigy, like 160 IQ for real. I know people are like, "Well, your IQ is," no, it isn't. He really was a brilliant mathematician and just tapped out, lived in Lincoln, Montana in a cabin he built himself. Because he just saw, he didn't have a problem with technology like, oh, you shouldn't use electricity or something. That wasn't his view. That's like with the stupid mass media twisting of, oh, he's anti-tech. He just wants to live in nature. No. He said was industrial society together and its future is what he's talking about. And he's not talking about what we ought to do or could do with tech. He's talking about what we do with tech. He's being descriptive, not prescriptive. And he's saying what we're going to do and he's right because we've did these things. We're going to end up doing gain of function on some virus and releasing it on the world. We're going to end up like nuking each other. We're going to end up with a super surveillance state. We're going to end up with drugs that'll alter someone's mind. So if you're not getting along, you drug them up, Prozac, whatever. That's already happened too. Like they're going to use technology for nefarious things. Now, could you use tech in the right way? Yeah, but that's not how we are.
No.
And he also talked about the psychological alienation people have from this sort of artificial industrial society where kids just sit in a desk for 6 hours a day. So like that's really depressing to these people. And of course, fourth of the women in America are on antidepressants. And then you add the Adderall and all that. Like everyone's got some sort of mental problem. Why?
Yeah.
We have it easier than we've ever had. But the problem is like you would think like making the minimal amount of effort to get food and shelter and all is a good thing. And physically it is. Like you're not wanting for hunger. It's very easy to go buy a sandwich downstairs, whatever, super easy. But what you lost is before the process has itself has value, not just the goal. So if you're hunting or fishing or trapping or whatever, it takes a certain amount of physical and social skill and you're using your potentials, which is what makes you happy, to obtain the goal. And the thing has value because of the effort you had to use to get it. That's why money has value. And you've stripped that away by just automatically giving someone the goal. Well, now they have to find some other process to go through because if you don't self-actualize, even if you have everything, you're going to be horribly depressed because your psychology evolved just like your body physically evolved in such an environment where you had to exercise a certain amount of skill physically, socially, mentally, and so on. You have to use a certain amount of creativity. You have to. And if you take that away, if you focus it all on academics like school does, very little physical education, zero social, zero everything else, it's like a chair with a leg too long. It's just going to tip over. And that's why people are in this kind of depressed states that they're in is they don't have a process for self-actualization. They're stuck. Most people don't really have economic mobility. It's still built on the back of massive amounts of sweatshop labor. Like you don't see it, but we have slaves still. They're just over there. You know, like
I've traveled a lot around
you
the world.
can't just be like, well, fuck them. That's not me. So, but it's someone else. And this is a byproduct of industrial society that no one wants. Those on the privileged side don't want to shake the boat because someone else in the sweatshop, not your kids, someone else's. So whatever. But you know, you're not benefiting that much more than them either. If you look
We
at
want
it
our cheap
compared
products,
to
but
the
it's at what
technocrats.
cost?
Yeah, I mean, you've got like a trillionaire, you've got 100 billionaires, and then you've got people living hand to mouth. And it's allowed, that structure's allowed because, not because they're so much more valuable or talented or whatever, it's just they're essentially allowed to tax everybody like a government. You're like, oh, pay these many pennies for this tech product that you're now dependent on because if you don't have it, you will not be able to compete with everyone else. Da, 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 da. It's just really alienating. So I think it's an interesting read. I read his thoughts on that and what he thinks on about depression. He predicted a lot of things that have now happened. And you got to think his manifesto comes out in the 90s, but he wrote it in the 70s. Yeah, he
Wow.
had to bomb, to get it.
'Cause
And
he
it's like
was
he's
active for a long
predicting
time,
this. He's
right?
like, oh, you think this is science fiction? Boom, boom, boom. All the stuff, the psychotropic drugs, even on kids, they say they're going to start giving them to children, not just adults, to make you fit with the system's needs. Oh, you don't like living like this? Well, we'll just change your brain so that you do,
Yeah.
rather than change the environment.
When I was a
So
kid,
I
they
think
tried to
that's
get me an
interesting.
Adderall, but thankfully my parents didn't put me on it. It's like, yeah, I'm hyperactive, but it's like I've been successful because I use that to hyper focus. And
Yeah, my friend always says if you have a headache, it doesn't mean you have an aspirin deficiency. If you're hyper compared to what?
yeah, exactly.
Just to other
Is it
people.
bad to
Like,
have a
yeah,
lot of energy and not want to sit in a fucking class and get fucking lectured by boring ass teachers for 6 hours? If I had a good teacher, I had no problem.
when's the last time you used algebra 2? Never.
I haven't,
It's
yeah.
just they drown you in academic minutia that people with no other talents are very proud of themselves to be able to do. But if you have another skill at anything else, like you're good at getting girls, you're good at fighting, you're good at some sport, you're good at
You already named the
whatever.
only thing I'm good at.
You know, that's kind of my overlap too. But like if you then you want to go, I don't want to do homework. I want to go play basketball or whatever. It's like, but if you suck at everything, it's very easy to excel at school because you have nothing else to do. So like, you just gotta, oh, I got a sticker. My teacher said I'm great. But like, but is what you're learning practical? Is that going to help you earn money?
Most of it's not.
Is that gonna, most of it isn't. I think it is practical up until about second grade. Everyone should learn read and write and basic math, da 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 da. And then it starts to shift. And by middle school, other than the science projects, it's pretty much babysitting and a waste of time. And like math should be geared towards statistics, not calculus. Statistics is way more useful in daily life. Calculus is a special thing for special stuff like that does need to be, someone needs to learn it. And it does need to, it's valuable, but typically, if you're running a business, if you're running whatever, you need stats, and you should be going that direction. Health should be a main subject, not an elective.
Yeah.
English should be an elective, not a main subject. And I would restructure the whole thing, but I'm not in charge. But whatever. It's my fantasy of how education ought to
No, I
be.
think our whole education needs to be revamped, and also physical education should be extremely important. Like
It
look
should
at
not
back
be
in
pass or
Kennedy's
fail.
era. And
Yeah,
all the
it's
great
like,
men
oh,
through
get your
history
shoes on.
always talked about sound body, sound mind.
Yeah, it is sound body, sound mind. There is a relation. I'm full on Bruce Lee with that. Like you have, or Jesus, right? Your body's your temple. You got to take care of your temple, or you're gonna have a rotten soul. You know, unless you're a ginger, then it doesn't matter. But you're just a cave.
Yeah. Gee, I got about 10 more minutes and I gotta go train some fighters. I had a ton of more questions, but I guess people are gonna have to get those watching your film. I'll hit a couple of these real quick because
Let's just do a lightning round because I only got like 4 minutes.
yeah, I gotta go in a few minutes too. Just real quick, I think the Anthrax thing's real quick. A couple of questions on that. Were they sending some ridiculous letters that was like Allah? Because you know they say Ali Akbar, but it was like Allah is great or something on the letter.
Yeah.
Death to America, death to Israel. It was so obvious.
just
And then
added
the
death to
Anthrax
Israel
was from
for
the
no
American
reason.
lab. Is that correct?
Death to America, death to Israel. Allah is great. 9/11 on the top. I joke and say, and then it says, "P.S. We're evil Muslims." Like,
Yeah.
you know who wrote those notes.
It was
Same
just
people
so
that
obviously
lied about
fake when I
him
saw that
passing it
letter.
off from Iraq. They said Iraq gave it to Al Qaeda. Like that, who lied? Israel. And who wrote death to Israel? Gee, maybe Iran. Like, come on, man. The Israelis did that, of course,
And didn't they
of course.
get some
And
people
you had a bunch of who had broken into the lab at Fort Detrick where they used to work. Philip Zachariah being the main one, and stole anthrax samples. And that is
they
who
literally
you'd wanna
traced it back there,
question
right?
when
They
they're-
traced the
when it
Anthrax.
happens again that somebody stole anthrax and mailed it to people like Patrick Leahy and tried to kill him, you might want to question the guy caught breaking into the lab doing work illegally, and then after he left, there was 23 missing spores of anthrax. Gee. But they don't because they already know the answer. And this
I
was a
think-
clique that was like harassing an Egyptian coworker. It was the only non there. And called the Camel Club. Justin Raimondo wrote about it. Salon wrote about it. There's an article. See, it is covered in written press, but I don't remember ever on TV, Fox, CNN, MS, NPC, or whatever, where they're like, you know, there was a previous attack on the World Trade Center in 1993, and there was a previous break-in at Fort Detrick, Maryland, where we do gain of function research on anthrax for some fucking reason, where anthrax spores went missing, and oh, well, now there's an anthrax attack. Gee, I guess it's a rock. Like,
Not
I don't
connected at
remember
all.
TV. No, they're not gonna ever do that because it said death to America, death to Israel. Now, who would benefit from that? What the Israelis
Allah is
benefit from
great.
mine?
Not Allah.
Yeah,
Akbar.
Allah is great. Yeah.
It's like the first
If you
thing
look
know
at
what
it
the fuck they're doing,
vertically,
they
it
wrote the
says,
letter.
"Is Israel, America great? Death, Allah."
Yeah, it's just the whole anthrax thing. It's like, didn't a few like the awful people get sent fake anthrax, and then real anthrax was getting sent to the people that
Miller
were like
got fake
opposed to the war
anthrax.
and this type of stuff?
Yeah, Judith Miller got a hoax letter of anthrax, So did Howard Troxler. And yet, like, highly enriched weapons grade anthrax is sent to Patrick Leahy and Tom Daschle, and Tom Brokaw even got some anthrax sent. They were trying to kill Leahy because the Leahy Amendment would forbid all military aid to Israel. They were going to Charlie Kirk him. And didn't get him, but it scared them crooked because they had both opposed the Patriot Act, ended up passing anyway. The Leahy Amendment, like, Israel violates resolutions and amendments anyway, and they're just not enforced. So, like, there was a UN resolution condemning Israeli settlements. That's the whole thing with Michael Flynn and blah, 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 blah. It did pass, and it's just a bunch of finger waving because they're building more settlements, and, like, what you going to do about it? Nothing. Okay, they're not going to keep bulldozing houses. Like, until there's consequences, they're not going to change their behavior. And it's like I said earlier, I don't see any realistic chance. I don't see us registering AIPAC under FARA. I don't see aid to Israel being cut. The most realistic, the highest probability, like I'm saying, of a way to change is they fuck with Iran and Iran peppers them with ballistic missiles. If that happens, when the day Tel Aviv looks like Gaza, my whole hallway is just going to be Vaseline. Like, it's just never going to end. It's going to be everlasting boner. Just like I've been waiting for like 30 years to see them get their comeuppance, and like a little bit in June, they were panicking in their air raid shelters. I want Israel to look like Gaza.
And look what they did to Gaza. That was just, they just completely destroyed it. Just the heartlessness, the brutality.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah. Well, let's just closing. I just think it's important to point out 9/11, right? Seems so crazy. One, Israel has a history of false flags, and also
Yep.
they were the ones that had the motive to do this. I think this is all. There's so many other things I had written
They
down, but
clearly,
people need to watch their film. It's
clearly,
just, it's too much. Let's just close with
they lied about anthrax, and they lied about Iraq. Like 100%, they did that. Like, even if you're not sure about their role in 9/11, they definitely are the ones that did lie about anthrax and associated it to Iraq. The Iraq War is big enough crime alone. Israel's so guilty of sadistic demonic shit, you really don't have to add anything extra. But I'm just saying this about 9/11 because it's true. Like, Saudi Arabia and Israel helped the United States pull this off. Al Qaeda works for us. ISIS works for us. The Contras work for us. The Mujahideen work for us. Like, these are not independent terrorists. You got to get that through your head.
you know, well, like you said earlier, how the guy was one of the head ISIS guys. He was just in the White House meeting with Trump. That's just insane.
Johnny was there yesterday.
Yeah, was it yesterday?
And they
He was there. I
call
couldn't believe it.
Mamdani the jihadist.
Yeah.
What the hell? A Muslim guy is mayor of New York, so what? And he's the jihadist. But an actual jihadist, leader of Al Qaeda, that chopped off people's heads, is shaking hands with Trump and Rubio and the rest of them. How? I mean, the mask is off. They used to lie to us. They used to hide it. Now it's right in front of our face because there's so much sensationalist garbage that they know they can do whatever they want. It's not going to matter. Like, the team Alex Jones won. Everyone believes in dumb shit, and they're going to continue to because it's fun. Sensationalism wins. I wish I had a solution to that. Like, how do you get people to stop watching the circus? You know, like, to watch the pickpocket that's robbing you instead of the clowns. You really can't. They're all like, did you see this thing? Do you see this fucking flame war between so-and-so? Have you seen the Midkef, Imru, whatever all that is? Like, dumpster fire. That's what that is. It doesn't matter. Sydney Sweeney, impressive rack. Move on. Like, that doesn't need to be in your news feed for 3 days.
No, it doesn't mean
Or
some of the Charlie
Trudeau's
Kirk stuff.
dating Katy Perry. I don't give a fuck.
Well, even some of the
Like-
Charlie Kirk stuff has gotten a little bit crazy.
Oh, there's a bunch of Kirk conspiracies.
And I don't know, and I think it's possible Israel was
It's the
involved, but like
new
some of the shit I'm
conspiracy
seeing is just clearly
cocaine.
like crazy.
Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. Was he farmed out by the Israelis? Maybe. But, like, there was no exploding microphone. There was no trap doors. There was no getaway plane. There was no $150 million from Netanyahu. And then it's just like, no, 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 no. There was no Google Trends. That's verifiable. They're like, well, he had a super neck. No, he didn't have a super neck. And no, that was not from the autopsy. Surgeons don't do autopsies. Pathologists do. That's Andrew Kolbeck trying to create a Christian miracle because his flock believes and shit like that. Like, if the bullet went down lengthwise, that's why there's no exit wound. His neck is not going to stop a bullet. Duh.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean there was no bullet. It just means it went down this way instead of this way. I mean, this isn't rocket surgery, but they want to believe in the goofs. They want a question mark because it's fun.
Yeah.
But
I
it
think people
makes
should
us
question
look
it. We should be
dumb.
careful how we question it.
Are you asking a real question, or are you being dogmatic and hiding it as if, oh, I'm just asking questions? They're being dogmatic and pretending like they're only asking questions. They're not asking questions. They're making statements. Like, oh, I didn't say that. I'm like, oh, yeah, you just heavily implied it. You know. Don't play dumb. You absolutely said these things. And there was no getaway plane. There was no Google Trends. There was no exploding mic. There was no body armor. That was another one. Like, stop it. Like, just,
Yeah.
like, if you actually are asking, okay, but that's not what I see happening. Like, oh, you believe official story? Like, I didn't say that.
No, I think
just
the official
rejected
story
the
has some
goop
weird
stuff.
holes in it, but all of the other stories I've seen
Yeah.
presented have seen a little bit
Well, clearly, like they
crazy.
had a guy running a diversion. They
Yeah,
had
that part is it. Yeah,
many
there
people
was some weird
online
things. No
saying,
doubt about
"Watch
that.
what happens at my school tomorrow." Like a lot of people knew this was going down. It was not just Tyler. This is a conspiracy. The thing is, I don't even like. I'm not even going to say what I think happened because I have to wait for the tidal wave of stupidity to pass with all the false theories before I even try to be heard because it'll just be a whisper.
See, people want the
You know,
views,
like,
so you're sacrificing all the views looking for truth, and these people are getting all the views just making up shit.
oh,
That's
I could have definitely said it was Israel. I could have leaned in and boasted Owens and gotten a lot of followers.
unfortunately that would have got you more views.
Of course it would have, but that's not true. So I'm not going to say that. You have to have somebody with integrity, or it's going to be a consistent circus act. They just asked her, like, do you have evidence that they fake these? You're like, yeah, because it sounds like they're talking from the 1822 and Discord said they didn't exist. It's like, they're not from Discord. These are text messages. She's like, oh, I didn't read the indictment. Like, you didn't read the indictment that it was text messages? Yeah, you did a lot of, you're a real one-woman FBI. Shut the fuck up. Like, you didn't even read the indictment. You didn't know it was text messages. And timestamps don't show up on Discord unless you ask it to. And because there are separate messages on Discord, but the one they're talking about where he says vehicle, oh my God, he said vehicle. No one says vehicle. Like gamers don't say vehicle. Yes, they do. He's on tape talking to cops, referring to his own car as a vehicle on film earlier, and that, whatever. It's such weak sauce to be like, I think these messages are strange, therefore they're not real. I'm like, okay, let me explain to you why that's so fucking stupid. If you tell a lie that you don't need, like you've already got them dead and all that, you don't need to add this extra shit. Well, let's just have extra risk for no reason and fake a conversation. Well, his defense attorney is just going to subpoena the phone records, and if they're not on there, he's free to walk.
And I haven't even followed the
Like, they're
Charlie
on
Kirk
there.
stuff.
Like, that
Yeah,
is
I
how
haven't
they
followed
talk.
that close, but I've just seen some like crazy stuff getting thrown around, and I'm a guy who thinks, yeah, Israel could have been involved, but I still think it's like,
Sure.
okay, we need to like slow down a little bit and try to like properly go through it, like kind of how you did with RFK. You actually broke it down.
Yeah, if Israel was going to kill Kirk, because let's say he was about to 180, even though he's a Zionist his whole life, that he was sick of it, he lost a donor, and they're bombing Catholic churches and stuff. His wife's Catholic, he's a Christian, Protestant, and he's just like, I'm done. I'm just gonna be like America, first on everything, and then I'm gonna turn on Israel. So they're like, oh, let's kill him rather than bribing him or any other steps in between. Let's say that was gonna happen. Israel is not going to put a Mossad agent on the roof and shoot Charlie Kirk when they can just outsource that to some tranny faggot. There's plenty of people who hate Charlie Kirk who they can pin it on and use as a patsy. You still need Tyler there to shoot him. They're not so dumb or desperate that they're going to put their own soldiers or agents in such a situation. And like shot from behind, there's no entry wound other than his neck. It didn't go out the same hole it went in. Like, please, if you don't know what you're talking about, be quiet. but it's like every day there's a new theory. And when
Well, I'm
you
not a gun
say
expert. That's why I
that's
don't.
not
People ask
true
me to
because
comment.
XYZ, they don't have a counter argument. They say,
No.
"Oh my God, you believe this official story?" That's it.
No, it's like maybe I don't believe this or the official story. And people ask me like, "Oh, what do you think about the
Exactly.
bullet?" It's like I don't know. I'm not a gun expert, so I'm not going to comment on it. How am I going to comment on it when I'm not? Oh, but the bullet couldn't do that. I'm like, I'm not a gun expert. You're not talking to the right person.
They think it's hitting
Well,
his
shit, I got to
brain
run,
and
pick someone up.
here. It's like it's
Any
from above. It's
closing
hitting his
thoughts
neck
or
here and going down his body. That it's like, God damn, dude. If there's no exit wound and he's shot in the neck, then it had to go down his torso. And it could pop out his butthole, whatever. But he's 6'5". You shoot an animal from that distance with 30-06. It takes about 18 inches of ballistic gel to stop the bullet. I've looked at this a million times, so it is possible. What's not possible is to hit the front of his neck and it be stopped by the back of his neck. That not even any gun that would happen.
No.
Like that's not going to happen. Any like 22 onward, it's not going to happen. But that case was made by Andrew Kolvik, who is this Christian holy roller who wanted to invent a miracle story to say Charlie had Wolverine bones and he saved the person behind him because his body was so strong. I'm like, okay, that didn't
the
happen.
man is still.
And no one told you that. You made that up. But he just threw gas on the conspiracy fire by saying that crap. I'm like, he didn't even know what type of doctor to lie about. He said the surgeon who did the autopsy told him that. I'm like, pathologists, not surgeons. Surgeons you're so fucking ignorant. You don't even know how to lie well. Like his neck did not stop a bullet. But when you say the bullet went down his body, that he was shot from the front, they're like, oh my God, his neck can't stop a bullet. That's impossible. Like no one's saying his neck stopped the bullet. Would you fucking moron. Like I just said his neck didn't stop the bullet. Now I'm going to talk about something and you're still going to reply his neck can't stop a bullet even though I just said it like 6 times. It's just like if I say they had truck bombs in 9/11 and you're like, oh, so you're saying it was only fire? I'm like, I just said there was truck bombs like 50 times and explained it. And you're still like, so official story? Like they're not listening. They're just waiting for their
People have
turn
a
to
hard
talk.
time. They have a hard time comprehending that if you're saying like, "Hey, you still think something's off here, but you just don't think this thing." You think, "Oh, therefore you're fully against them." I think that's what it is, which is a weird phenomenon because you're just
It's a
saying,
light switch
"No, I
brain.
think Israel could be involved. I just don't believe this." Or I think, yeah, there was likely bombs. I just don't think they were rigged up up the building.
Yeah. Look, you had out-of-state license plates visiting their house. His boyfriend is in all these weird discords with spooks and stuff, which we've seen in prior shootings. I think there's a conspiracy. I think it's not just Tyler. There's definitely there. I know that because there were people announcing that he was going to die on Twitter and Discord before he was shot.
Yeah.
That is true. The Google Trends thing is not true. Oh, it was in France. Nope. Go to it yourself. There's no spike on July 14th. Candace Owens said this. Like, she didn't check. You can go to Google Trends. You can type in their names, and there's nothing there. Like, it's verifiably wrong. And they just were like, oh, yeah, well, I got strong. Shut up. You're not a researcher, and you're discrediting yourself because you're letting people whisper poison in your ear, and you're repeating their bullshit, and now you look like a moron.
I have so many
They're gonna
people
keep
sending me
doing it.
videos and stuff want me to post in the Charlie Kirk thing. I'm just like, man, I don't know how to decipher this. I'm not getting involved in this case until at this point I don't have an opinion. Well, shit, I'm supposed to be in the gym in like 10 minutes.
That
So
is
thanks
a
so much.
sign of wisdom.
Yeah,
To know when you
we'll have a
don't know.
conversation soon. So thanks so much. Anything, people go to your website, check out your movie, follow your Substack.
Yeah, I mean, the movie's ryandawson.org, and you can voluntarily sign up or not. You can watch the movie free, and then, okay, thanks. But, if I want to make films in the future and Substack, like those subscriptions matter. That's what funds the whole thing. So, and I got
No, it's
3
great you're giving it
kids
for
and
free, but
my
it'd be
eye,
nice
and I'm
if you
going
could make money so you
blind,
can keep making
but like that's not your problem. That's me. But if you want more films, you gotta either buy some gear or sign up to Substack. So I don't think $6 is gonna break the bank for anybody. So, and if so, then you got bigger problems.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
well,
man.
Ryan,
But
thanks so much
this
for your
map
chat.
is
We'll do
for
another one
sale.
soon. I'm sure we'll
Yep.
figure out some kind of good topic. There's like so many different things we could discuss. So have a good night.
Thank you, man. Get to training.
As many of you know, I have many controversial guests, so that comes at a cost of being demonetized everywhere. So if you want to support the program, go to fightbackpodcast.com, and I have all kinds of merch on there, whether it's jiu-jitsu, fighting, political, and other accessories. And thanks for the support.